I tell you what, man. We bled together, man.
I don't know who you're doing right now. I'm trying to think.
We bled together. This was us. We were in a room, man. We were bleeding together. I want you to come back and finish the job with me, man. Can you do that?
Give him more. Give him more.
Who is that? On today's Pardon My Take, we have a twofer for the people. We have our good friend Joe Buck back on the show after his season has been completed. Always great to catch up with him. And then we have Mark Sanchez, first-time guest. Great time talking Super Bowl, talking butt fumble, his Jets career, what he expects in the big game in 10 days from now. We also are going to talk Super Bowl storylines, a little cleanup from Sunday, and we have a new segment for the end of the show, Pardon Your Take. So listener-submitted theories, weird ideas, should be great. Awesome show for everyone, and it's brought to you by our friends at Jif. America eats over 1 billion wings during the big game, and with every serving comes celery that 86% of people don't want. Well, Jif Peanut Butter is changing that by delivering Jif to your door in 60 minutes or less. Everyone needs to do their part to save the celery during the big game by including Jif Peanut Butter in their game day spreads. Get your free jar of Jif on February 11th, while supplies last, or you can act now and order everything you need to save the celery during the big game. Celery neglect stops with you, an irresistible Jif peanut butter. Go to SaveTheCelery.com to get Jif delivered to your door for the big game. I love celery with peanut butter. You ever do ants on a log as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the raisins in there too. Nothing better than some peanut butter and celery. Peanut butter is maybe the most versatile thing out there. You can just do it with everything.
Anything. Yeah, I've put it on pancakes. I've had it on burgers before.
Oh, burgers is
It's
a
elite,
really
right?
good call. Yes. So Jif Peanut Butter, let's save the celery with Jif Peanut Butter. Go to SaveTheCelery.com to get Jif delivered to your door for the big game. Do it right now. SaveTheCelery.com to get Jif delivered to your door for the big game. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take. Today is Wednesday, January 31st. Happy birthday, PFT.
Thanks, Big Cat. Happy birthday to you, too, because it's actually today, January 30th, when we're recording it.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that as a 39-year-old. I thought, and you're only 38?
Yeah, you're old as fuck.
Oh, okay. So
Right,
I am older than you right now.
Okay, boomer.
I am older than you right now. I wanted to give you some wisdom.
Some advice?
Okay, so here's my advice to you as the oldest one on this podcast right this second. Tomorrow you will join me in the 39 Club. My advice is don't ever get your hopes up for a head coach.
Uh-huh.
Because if it doesn't happen, then you'll be depressed on your birthday.
It's really good advice. And I would like to accept
So
that. I wish you had turned 39 one day earlier so you
Yes.
could have given me that advice yesterday. It was the worst birthday present of all time.
I feel so bad for you, dude. When I saw
wanted
that, I
Ben
was just
Johnson.
like, what the fuck?
Do I want Ben Johnson, though? Maybe he did us a favor because he didn't even think to reach out to the Commanders to say no thank you to the interview until we were in the plane on the way. You know what? I'm starting to think we actually told him no.
Here's the thing. Ben Johnson, not good at fourth downs as of late.
Apparently that was Dan Campbell's call. I read Dan
No, I'm
Campbell's
saying the
interview.
actual play call.
The play calls.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
He,
As of late, he
Ben
was actually
Johnson,
really good this season.
He told Josh Reynolds, drop that pass. And he shouldn't have done that.
I was bummed out for you, legitimately bummed out for you, because
Same.
Ben Johnson does feel
Shut
like,
the fuck up, Hank.
I was.
No, you weren't.
what if they get Bill Belichick now?
Yeah, you might have played yourself on that one, Hank.
I have no issue with Belichick. I would rather live in a world where Bill Belichick is coaching than not coaching.
Okay, that's fair. That's actually fair takes. But Ben Johnson felt like it was a sure thing to the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Johnson, now, PFT, this is what you have. I'm sure you're going through this internal struggle. There's only 32 of these jobs.
Yeah.
They are coveted. You get paid a lot of money. You get a shot to run a team, run an organization.
Yeah.
Very few guys turn down jobs not 1 year, but 2 years now, this has been Ben Johnson being like, I'm good with the Lions. I understand it in the fact that they're building something with the Lions and he probably likes his life, but is there a part of you that's like, he looked at the Commanders and was like, this is a mess. I don't want part of this.
He might be a Dan Campbell merchant. I don't think that's the case because the mess is gone. We don't have the mess. In fact, I would still say that we have, the roster's not great right now as it stands, but if you look at the job, it's actually pretty good. You've got Josh Harris, good owner.
Mm-hmm.
He'll spend money. We're going to get a new stadium.
Process worked perfectly.
We're getting a new. The process of the process worked perfectly. The results of the process,
correct,
have not worked. He used a fucking draft pick to draft a dude who's scared of the NBA Finals MVP.
Right, and we're process.
Continued.
We're a process podcast.
We're process,
not a results. So we don't judge results. We process.
The process of the process worked, Max. Am I right? They got the number one picks.
It's not over. It's still processing.
Oh, we're still processing.
Okay, so
as long as Joel Embiid is breathing air on this earth, the process is still.
Well, Max ran him out of town last year. Remember that?
That's true.
So I think about the Washington job as still being a good job because you've got a new owner, new stadium coming, possible new team name. You have the most salary cap room in the NFL, and you have the number 2 overall pick. It's pretty good in terms of the long-term aspect for the job. Here's what really kills me. We've talked about my dream bets on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I've made like 3 dream bets, and they're all very specific dream bets, and they always happen. So the most recent one I think was Jamar Chase, under catches, under yards receiving in a week. That hit. Last night, I swear to God, I dreamt that Ben Johnson was going back to Detroit, that he was not going to be the Commanders' head coach. I dreamed that. And then I dreamed we interviewed Slowick and we hired McDonald from Baltimore.
Okay.
That's what my dream told me.
Okay.
And then I wake up and I find out that my dream is happening.
It's all happening.
It's all happening to me, and it's not good. It's not a good feeling I have. I get the feeling that that Dan Campbell had a little talk with him, that Dan pulled him aside, probably cried.
Probably told him that remember when I told the team it's going to be twice as hard to get back here? If you leave, it's going to be 10 times as hard.
I think he was just
so
like,
please stay.
Man, I tell you what, man. We bled together, man.
I don't know who you're doing right now. I'm trying to think.
We bled together. This was us. We were in a room, man. We were bleeding together. I want you to come back and finish the job with me, man. Can you do that?
Give him more. Give him more.
Who is that?
Listen, we went through blood, sweat, and tears, man, and no one said we could do it. No, they all thought I was crazy taking this job. They said, Detroit, what? They never won anything. We're about to do it.
You're kind of like
constipated.
Hulk Hogan if he like smoked cigarettes and had to get the voice thing.
I just think that what we're building right here in Detroit.
Is it dying Hulk Hogan?
We're in Detroit, Michigan. It's like Metallica said.
Yeah.
Darkness.
George Bush?
Closer.
Imprisoning me. All that I see is absolute sorrow, man.
Alex
That's what I see if you're gone.
Oh, there's definitely some Alex Jones. Good call.
I got all the documents right here, man.
Yeah.
I got documents that says that you got 2 more years on your contract, man.
It's like Alex Jones and Hulk Hogan trying to do a Dan Campbell impression.
I think
one of them's dying.
I think Dan.
At the same time.
I think Dan had a talk with him, got real emotional, cried, and just pumped him up.
You know who I'm very happy
Probably
for?
hard to say no to that.
I'm happy for our friend Jared Goff.
Same.
Very
Me
happy
too.
for our friend Jared Goff.
Like I can't. I'm mad that I don't have Ben Johnson. I've always wanted Johnson to play with, and we're not going to get it next year.
Yep.
And at least he's going to be in Detroit. It would have been tough if he had taken a different job.
Yes.
But
I'd agree with that.
But if he's not going to be the coach of the Commanders, I do want him to stay in Detroit, and I'd like to see them be successful there. So
yes,
it's tough. I really wanted him.
Yeah, I feel bad for you.
I'm not going to get him.
So it ruins your
PFT,
birthday.
what do you make of the report that he's staying because he wants to win a Super Bowl?
That's fake news. That's fake news. That was a bad clip.
That's an interesting tweet.
Yeah, it was interesting because it implies that
he's not going to win
he's
one.
not going to win one in Washington. It's hard to win a Super Bowl.
Or the
Jay.
Seahawks.
It's twice as hard. So by his math, it's twice as hard to win in Detroit, still making it easier than in DC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would have liked him. Glad he's in Detroit. We're on to Vrabel. We're on to Belichick. We're on to McDonald. We're on to Slowick. I can talk myself into any one of the 4 guys. What I don't want,
or if it's not one of those 4,
and here's where I might get myself in trouble. If it's Dan Quinn, I'm going to be very
backwards hat. You'll have to podcast in a backwards hat every show.
I'm going to be
the NFL season.
A sad boy if that happens.
Yeah,
I'm going to be the saddest 39-year-old bully in the world.
That would be sad.
That'd be the worst birthday present ever. And I like Dan Quinn, good guy, great coordinator.
Yeah,
I don't think I want him to be a head coach, especially if we're going to get an up and coming quarterback probably in the draft.
Yes. We're not 40, by the way. as some people have reported, Henry.
Yeah, Hank's
and
been
other
telling
people online have said we're 40. We're not 40. Next year we'll have to do something big for 40.
We've had to community notes Hank twice in real life about telling people that we're 40.
Yeah.
Well, no, we were on the plane. I was like, you guys are turning 40?
Yeah, no, that was fucked up. Because now I'm staring
I knew
at
it was
40.
close.
Now I'm staring at 40. So, yeah.
Just a bunch of 30-year-old guys.
Listen,
Yeah.
this is our last year to have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, once it's 40, it's all business.
Yeah. It's all business. Then we're getting real jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some cleanup from Sunday. I got a couple things I wanted to throw out there before we get to Super Bowl storylines. First, I would like to correct myself. At the end of the show, we were talking about Jimmy G and Brock Purdy. I was like, oh, was Jimmy G is bad? Is he that much worse than Brock Purdy? That was wrong. Brock Purdy's much better than Jimmy G. But it came from two places. One, I think Jimmy G was better than people give him credit for before his injury. Like that season that they went to the Super Bowl, I think he had like 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, like almost 4,000 yards. He was not bad. He got hurt, and then it's been like Jimmy G's kind of a joke. Like he was good that season.
There was legitimate Brock Purdy MVP discussion.
Correct. Brock Purdy is better both with his legs, with taking shots, because that's the big thing with Jimmy G is like he can throw the passes that are there. Can he take the big shot? Obviously, we know with the Super Bowl when he misses Emmanuel Sanders by 3 inches. That was the other part where it's like he was 3 inches away from winning a Super Bowl, and even the next year, 2 years later, they were very close to going back to the Super Bowl, against the Rams, that NFC Championship game. So I was wrong there. I want to correct it. Credit to me because I'm not too big of a man to not say when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I was a stupid end of the show, late Sunday thought.
So can I say I was right?
You were right.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, listen, I'll never shy away from saying I'm wrong. I'll own when I say something stupid. The other part the reason why it popped in my head was because I think it's fair. The Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy's good. Brock Purdy's been scary these playoffs for 6 of the 8 quarters.
And there were a couple games this season where if he's throwing it, he has interception games.
Yeah.
Where if he throws one, it feels like he'll give you a shot at least
The
2 or
Ravens
3.
game, yeah. So it was more of a fear of Steve Spagnuolo with 2 weeks against Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy can still do it, but there's where the fear came from. There's where it's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
The Jimmy G discourse when he was playing was all about, like, say what you want about the eye test, but he wins.
Right.
And I love that. I love that.
And he makes the
debate.
throws that are there.
He's a winner.
But Brock Purdy does make more throws. He takes more risks.
Yes.
He can run a lot better than Jimmy G.
He throws a couple.
That was wrong.
He throws a few interceptions here or there.
Yeah.
At inopportune times. So he's not, like, obviously you would want Patrick Mahomes over Brock Purdy.
Yes.
But Purdy's had such a good season, especially considering at the end of last year, the way it ended, people were like, is he going to be the starter next year? Is he going to heal? How is he going to come back from the injury? He's responded to that, and you can say, like, without any hesitation whatsoever, next year, that's Brock Purdy's team. Like,
Yeah.
they got rid of Trey Lance.
Right. They drafted Trey Lance, and then they got for Jimmy G, and then they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Right. So it is Brock Purdy's team. The other one I wanted to correct, we were talking about the Dan Campbell. I have more stuff about this, but people were pointing out that I am a proponent of kicking the field goal at the end of the half, and I contradicted myself. I agree with kicking the field goal at the end of the half by Dan Campbell. The other third downs, I still think that's how Dan Campbell coaches, but I do think that kicking a field goal at the end of the half, because you don't get the benefit of having them backed up if you don't get the fourth down, is the smart play. I think for the Super Bowl, we got to make sure that we take like an hour. I know the producer's booth is not going to like this, to decompress, because I feel like that Niners-Lions game, we came in here right after, and it was like I haven't really like gathered all my thoughts.
Digested it.
Right. So that's where I made those 2 mistakes.
I think that I would disagree. I like going for it at the end of the first half. I know that you don't get the benefit. I understand that there's no benefit to if you don't get it. I just like the benefit of their short yardage offense was really good. Try to score 7 points. Try not to leave with 3. I think you have a better chance of making 7 than you do of making 3. Probably not statistically, but I'm saying like the risk for going for 3 as opposed to the reward for going for 7. I like going for 7 there. And then in the second half, the second fourth down, I would have kicked it. But again, that just goes back to seeing the score being even on the scoreboard.
Right.
Like maybe that's a dumb brain thing I have where it's just like it feels like it's worth it to kick this long field goal just so I see the same numbers on either side of the scoreboard, because that just feels way better than still being down 3 points.
And I know Dan Campbell, so I have a bigger point I wanted to get to, but for the Dan Campbell discourse, I've seen a lot of people throwing out these stats, and I went and I actually, like, this is sad that it took me like an hour to go through his entire game log. Michael Badgley I'm talking about. The stat that people are throwing out there are Lions are 52.5% on the season in fourth down conversions, and Michael Badgley is a career 77% kicker from 40 to 49 yards. So they're like, why wouldn't you just take the points? I was like, I feel like this is a little misleading. So I went and I looked a little deeper. The Lions on the season were 17 for 20 from 4th and 3 or less. So I don't know what that's a percentage. 17 for 20. 85. Thank you. So 85% 4th and 3 and less. Michael Badgley in his career is 12 for 20 on kicks over 45 yards. So a lot of his kicks, the 77%, were 41 yard, 42 yard, 43 yard. I went through his entire game log. So that is not, what is that, 56%?
Say the numbers again.
12 for 20.
12 for 20 is 60.
60%. So it's like 85%, 60%. I think that's really the story is you can debate the fourth down as long as you want. They did not trust their kicker, and they should have gone into the playoffs with a kicker they trusted more, because that's really what it comes down to is like their kicker in the playoffs was a guy who lost his job in the training camp and then got his job back because the guy who beat him out lost his job.
Yeah, and I like the aggressiveness. That's who Dan Campbell is. I know that you have to understand the team that you're playing against, what they're able to do, and obviously the Niners, if you give them the ball, there's a good chance they're going to go down the field and score because they've got a fucking great running game and a good offense, and you have to take that into consideration. So it's not the same as doing like a 17-game season where you factor in some shittier opponents that kind of juice your stats a little bit. You should be a little bit less likely to go for it, but if it's 4th and 2 and the way that the game was going at the time, I have no problem with that. Yeah. I still say, like, yeah, it sucks, but if he had made that, if Josh Reynolds had completed that catch, if he had hung on to the ball, people would be like, yeah, that's Dan Campbell. This is aggressiveness. We love the Lions. We love that mentality.
Right,
but
and
it didn't work out.
And I understand people will never see eye to eye on this, and that's the best part about sports. Like we got a great game, and then we got days of people debating fourth downs versus kicking field goals. I love it.
It really it tricks us into doing way more math than we normally would. Right?
I was dude.
Yeah,
I was like I had to like take off my shoes and socks to do this Michael Badgley math because it was so fucking hard. I was trying to figure out where he kicked all his field goals. The end of the day, though, I do believe in not playing the results as much as you play the process. And Dan Campbell's a process guy, and like yes, if people will say, well, they didn't get the fourth down, so that means they suck. If they get the fourth downs, like Dan Campbell's a genius. And I'd rather judge him on the process of like, whether you get it or not, I understand what you're doing. I understand your thinking instead of being like, well, let's wait to see if he gets it and then we'll judge it.
Yeah. But the third down at the goal line, that was
the
bad.
dumbest thing ever. That
stupid.
one you cannot defend Dan Campbell on. That was an egregious misuse of his timeouts because he ended the game.
Yeah.
That one, he absolutely deserves all the criticism in the world. So my bigger point that I wanted to get to, and then we'll do Super Bowl storylines. 2 days removed from the championship Sunday, and this has a little bit to do with the fact that Ben Johnson has come back to the Lions, which is huge, like huge for the Lions, huge for Jared, huge for the continuity. I think that Ravens loss is so much worse than the Lions.
Okay.
I think it's so much worse because the Lions, and it sounds cliche, they died on their sword. They did what they do, and it didn't work, and the ball bounce, the weird bounces that happened, the fumble, the Brandon Ayuk, all these things happened. It sucked. It was a gut punch. You were sitting there up 17.5. I understand that. The Ravens, 2 days removed, I still don't know what they were planning on doing in that game. Like we talked about it on Sunday, not running the ball. The Ravens squandered a incredible opportunity as a favorite at home to beat Patrick Mahomes that they may never get again. Like they may never get that chance again. And Burrow's coming back and like Josh Allen's still there and CJ Stroud. Like that was an opportunity that the Ravens could look back on in 5-10 years and be like, that was it. We never had another chance. So I actually think the Ravens loss has aged worse than the Lions loss, where the Lions, like, again, they went out the way they've gone this whole season and they were right there and you can feel like you're building something. The Ravens, it's like, this was your team. You had everyone healthy. You were at home for the AFC Championship game. You had a better team than the Chiefs. I do believe that. but the Chiefs were able to just game plan better than you, and your game plan stunk.
I also think that with Lamar, there was something about him in the playoffs where he didn't play every single play like it was super important in terms of like being able to run the ball, right?
Yeah.
Like he was great from the pocket this year. He had made an obvious effort over the last couple seasons. Stay in the pocket, try to find somebody downfield, work on your passing. He's gotten very, very good at it. And that's in the back of his head. But in the playoffs, when it's literally win or go home, you have to have those moments where it's like, oh, yeah, Lamar, you're the best athlete on the field. Getting 15, 20 yards, taking off from the pocket is okay. Like, that's part of what makes you great. You don't have to silence all the critics by becoming a great pocket passer. You've proven you can do that. But still, what do you do better than anyone else? I think I heard Michael Irvin say this yesterday, but it's like you talk to Tom Brady, and he's like, yeah, if I could run like Lamar Jackson, I would have run like Lamar Jackson on every single play.
Right.
Like they learned to be a pocket passer because they didn't have that other ability that Lamar has, and Lamar sometimes just shuts that down. Like we saw it. He was waiting so long. He wasn't taking off. Everybody was screaming at him like, run the ball. The offense wasn't the identity that the Ravens have built themselves around. Number one, they didn't hand the ball off, and two, they didn't establish a running threat with Lamar, which would then change the entire defense. Like Lamar has to be able to be at a point where he's just like, I'm going to take over this game with my legs, and no one can stop me.
Right, and so that even adds more to the point I was making, because it's a great point, like that you're saying about Lamar and his like urgency to run. When you think about the Ravens' future, it's not a knock on Lamar to say that who would you rather have, a 35-year-old Patrick Mahomes or a 35-year-old Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, it's easy.
There will be a limit on his athleticism. You could even make the argument that he's lost maybe a tiny little bit of his explosiveness. That one run where it felt like old Lamar would have taken it to the house.
When he caught his own pass?
No, the 4th and 1.
Yeah.
He ran and he got like, I don't know, maybe he's dealing with something, but that was like those. He's not going to get younger. He's still got a lot of years. He's only 27, so it's not like I'm writing Lamar's like death sentence right now. I'm just saying the window is a little bit shorter for a Lamar Jackson than it is for a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it kind of sucks if you're running quarterback because you get into the league and then everyone calls you a running back and they like insult your passing ability, and then you're like, well, I'm going to show them. I'm going to become like a great passer. Then you become a great passer, and everyone's like, you need to run the fucking ball.
Right.
What's going on? So, like, it's a happy medium that's, like, impossible to hit if you're Lamar Jackson. But if it's in the playoffs, you run the fucking football. You take 15, 20 yards
right.
if they're giving it to you all day long. Like, that's very important for you to be able to do that and to keep a drive going and to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you're a sports fan, I think that most people would agree, if your team has a bad loss, if you empty the tank in the bad loss, you can get over it a little bit easier. The Ravens didn't empty the tank. If you're a Ravens fan, you're sitting back just being like, wait, why didn't we run the ball? Why did we do all these things? Why did we not have a game plan for this situation? Whereas the Lions, like, you want to debate the 4th downs, that's fine, but you emptied the tank.
Yeah.
And that's all you want.
You make the argument that the Ravens had their worst game of the season.
Correct. They did.
Again.
Yes.
Like, this happens in the playoffs a lot with them.
Right. So I just was thinking about it like 2 days removed that I was like, I think that they're both horrific losses. I'm not diminishing the Lions. And,
I like to minimize.
Minimizing.
That's a good fucking word.
What Lions fans are going through. But Ben Johnson definitely helps because that adds into the equation. But it's more like if I'm a Ravens fan, I would just be sitting there and be like, what, why? Why did we do it the way we did it? What happened? Why did we not try to do things differently?
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get over.
Yeah, very tough. And the window thing.
The window
thing, and just having a home championship game as a 4.5-point favorite.
And holding Mahomes scoreless in that championship
right.
game.
The Chiefs punted 7 times. How many times are the Chiefs going to punt? How many games are the Chiefs going to punt 7 times?
Never.
Like, it's crazy. So
second half, I should say.
I do think that Mahomes is good enough, though, that, like, if he had to – I know this sounds stupid. If he had to score, he would have. Like, the Bills game – it was clear the Chiefs were like, the Bills can score on us, so we have to match them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the AFC Championship game, the Chiefs were like, we got them. They can't do anything offensively. Like, we just need to make no mistakes.
They weren't taking huge shots. Yeah.
Right. All right, so let's do Super Bowl storylines. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, Hank, I'm just looking over at you and getting angry.
Why?
Because you're being a dick about. I'm
sorry.
You know what? Now
I'm
back on Belichick. I want Belichick.
I want Belichick for you too. I wanted Ben Johnson.
Oh, we should say I reached out to an anonymous head coach who does not have a job right now to inquire whether or not he'd be interested about the Commanders, just to see if it was a good job.
He also was asked if he'd be interested in the Bears in a year.
And yeah, I also asked him if he would be interested in a former Tennessee Titans linebacker who also used to play in DC and was a captain there. I asked if he would
Anonymous.
Anonymous is all anonymous. Don't speculate on who it could be. It could be anybody. I asked him if he was willing to coach the Commanders. So I was just going through it after I found out the Ben Johnson news, trying to just find some level of happiness. He said, tell them to call me. So if you're in the Commanders front office, just reach out to any former head coach that you might know, because he would be willing to pick up the call, and I'd be very happy with him.
Yes.
Ben Johnson and a new quarterback would have been so exciting.
Would have been so exciting.
That's the thing. It was the perfect time for it to happen.
I know.
And it's not going to. I know. Because my stupid dream.
Yeah. Okay, Super Bowl storylines. Should we go? So we should do the obvious ones first. Taylor Swift's going to be a huge storyline. I actually think also just the amount of traffic that websites will get by posting will Taylor Swift be at the Super Bowl is a big storyline because she's doing her jet thing.
It's the new what time is the Super Bowl?
Yeah, or even like how will Taylor Swift make it to the Super Bowl from Japan?
There's already been a lot of content about how much time it would take after the concert, the flight time, when
Correct.
she would land in Vegas. Is that enough time? Would you get to spend the night with Travis the night before?
Yep.
So I think we have not yet even begun to reach our quota of Taylor Swift content.
Yes.
Game.
The boring ones, not really boring, the real ones.
I actually want to know how many years of livable, survivable life on planet Earth Taylor Swift will be removing from everybody due to her carbon output.
Someone write that book.
Traveling from Tokyo to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. Jake, can you figure that out?
I'll look into it.
I want to know how many years of human life she is deleting from existence.
I want to know how many birthdays I can tell my kids confidently they'll have. Just be like, listen, it's Tay-Tay needed to get to the Super Bowl. So we're looking at like 55 tops.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be a grandfather.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not good for you. All right, so the boring ones out of the way first. Patrick Mahomes, GOAT conversation. We're going to get a lot of that. Patrick Mahomes, just to set the stage, he is 14-3 in the playoffs. If he wins the Super Bowl this year, only Brady, Montana, and Bradshaw will have more Super Bowl wins than him. Mm-hmm. And he'd be tied with Troy Aikman. And only Brady and Montana will have more playoff wins than him. So right now he's tied with Manning and I think Elway. So he would have 15. He'd be 15-3, and he would only be. I think Montana has 16 playoff wins, which is crazy because Montana just would go to the playoffs, win the Super Bowl.
They also didn't have super wild card.
Correct. But so he'd have the same amount of. He'd be one back from Montana and obviously a lot back from Brady. But crazy.
It's crazy that he tied Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Like Peyton Manning, arguably Mount Rushmore quarterback.
Yeah.
And he tied him in playoffs.
And he's 28 years old. Also, Andy Reid, if he wins this Super Bowl, he would be third all-time, tied for third all-time with Super Bowl wins by a head coach. Chuck Nolan, Bill Belichick, the only ones ahead of him, tied with Joe Gibbs and Bill Walsh. Mm-hmm. Pretty crazy. Also, Andy Reid, now that Bill Belichick might not have a job, I did the math, and if he coaches for 5 to 6 more years and the Chiefs go between 11 and 13 wins, he will be the all-time leading NFL coach in wins.
Yeah.
So right now he's fourth.
Yeah,
fourth.
I think you can even zoom out and just say about the Chiefs, if they win this game, it's dynasty.
Yeah.
Because that's a rule, right?
Dynasty talk.
3 championships in 5 years, that's dynasty.
Yeah.
This
Dynasty.
is crowning them being the new dynasty, the dynasty of the 20s.
First back-to-back since the Patriots. So, yeah, it would be that. And then the other side, it's the Kyle Shanahan redemption arc.
Yep.
Because Kyle Shanahan, if you're not familiar, I think everyone who's probably listening is familiar. He was the OC on the 28-3 Falcons when the Patriots came back on them. He was up 10 with 8 minutes and 53 seconds left in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And he also, which I referenced earlier, that Jaquiski Tart, is that how you say his name?
I think it's Jaquaski.
Jaquaski Tart dropped that interception in the NFC Championship game against the Rams when they were up 17-14 with like 10 minutes left. And if he catches that, probably win. So
yeah.
he's had some pretty horrific losses.
And that's going to translate directly to the Tom Brady-Patrick Mahomes discussion. And Patriots-Chiefs, can you beat Kyle Shanahan in a Super Bowl?
Right.
So that's going to add another layer to it.
Yeah.
We've got the Alex Smith Bowl.
Yep.
Which is also the Joe Montana Bowl.
Yep.
Probably a more impactful player.
I think we did the Joe Montana Bowl the first time, so let's do this one.
Okay,
Alex Smith.
This is the Alex Smith Bowl.
Yeah.
And probably the two most attractive head coaches in the league going head to head, right? You'd say
Yeah,
Kyle and Andy.
absolutely.
Maybe we might get some stray Colin Kaepernick discourse. I'm sure Flory will figure out a way to hammer that in because he went to college at Nevada, right?
Yep.
Played for the Niners. We'll be on the lookout for Mike Florist on
I
that
like
one.
that.
There's going to be something. Darren Ravel is going to do something with Pawn Stars. I haven't figured out what yet. He'll probably go to their like African American history section and see what he can pick up there.
Yeah.
But he's going to stop by the silver pawn shop, gold and silver pawn shop.
Yeah.
Both quarterbacks have dads who were drafted by Major League Baseball.
Ooh, that's cool.
So we'll probably talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Brock Purdy stories.
Brock Purdy
A
story.
lot of Brock, how much money he makes, the fact that he goes farming,
Yep.
all this stuff.
The McCaffrey-Shanahan connection.
Yep.
So Mike Shanahan won a Super Bowl with Ed McCaffrey. Kyle Shanahan trying to win a Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
They're going to talk about that a lot.
There's going to be a lot of Vegas stories. So one that I would like to just hope that becomes a story is just a reminder that John Fisher is a fuckhead. He is bringing the Oakland A's to Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they had like a big like welcoming party, and he just crickets. It was awesome. I'll play it for you real quick because he's a fuckhead. So I want people to remember that.
One more time for Mary Beth and John Fisher, please. The Las Vegas A's. We like the sound of that, right, Vegas? Yeah? Yes? Are we alive back there?
Oh, no. I thought for a second that was an Ed Cooley situation where they turned the sound down. On the
Are we alive back there? Yeah, John Fisher's a fuckhead.
Yep.
So remember that. In terms of the gambling, so NFL players are not allowed, or players in the game are not allowed to step foot in a casino.
Mm-hmm.
NFL players are not allowed to step foot in a sports book until the Super Bowl's over. Who do you think's gonna get busted?
Keyshawn Booty.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
They can't because usually NFL players can gamble on other sports that are not football. But for Vegas, they're not allowed to be in a sports book until after the game. It's crazy that I'm happy they're doing it in Vegas, but it's so insane that they're doing it in Vegas and they're like, but you also, like, everyone gambles on everything in Vegas, but you guys can't.
It's such a weird rule. Goodell probably has Calvin Ridley wearing like an ankle monitoring system right now.
Yes.
Just like let me know that you're not even allowed in Nevada.
Yeah.
Like stay away.
Yeah.
Also with the Vegas storylines, I'm interested to see what media member is going to get arrested. I've got Warren Sapp as minus 150.
Ooh.
I feel like he's the favorite. If you're going to bet on people, Warren Sapp's probably up there.
Yeah.
Somebody from maybe this company?
Maybe.
Hank?
Terry, I could get arrested.
Yeah.
Oh, saying who do you think?
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
That'd be very
Fox
funny.
doesn't have the
Very
rights, so I don't know if they'll
He
be
might
there.
just show up.
Yeah.
He might that might be how he gets arrested. They're like, Terry, you're not doing the Super Bowl.
Emmanuel Acho, he might call in a bomb threat on a dispensary there.
Greeny.
Tony Romo
Greeny getting arrested would be something else.
would be awesome. Great story.
if
Jaywalking.
anyone wants to set Greeny up,
Yeah.
that'd be amazing. Human trafficking, Mike Greenberg.
Now, I have one weird storyline that I don't know if it actually would be discussed, but I was thinking about it. This is the worst possible matchup for Las Vegas Raiders fans because they have the Niners, who they used to share a city with, kind of. Oakland and San Francisco right next to each other. Hate them. And they have an AFC West rival. It would be like if they did the Super Bowl in Philadelphia and it was Cowboys-Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that sucks for Raiders fans.
Yeah.
I was just like, that sucks for Raiders fans.
Yep.
They have to deal with this. So, sorry. I guess the Chargers-Niners might be worse for Raiders fans. I feel like Raiders and Chargers fans always fought.
I think now it's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Now it's the Chiefs. That's they really don't like them.
I don't know.
They hate Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't know how many Las Vegas Raider fans there are. I mean, there's a lot of Raiders fans, but that they're just like having a huge party of your two teams you absolutely hate right in your face.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we can also do like this is kind of for the crown of who the best tight end in football is.
Yeah.
This is the tight end bowl.
This is the tight end bowl.
Kittle, Kelsey.
My vote is for Kittle.
I agree. Kittle. You
Yeah.
should bet on him.
We should. Yeah, we're gonna get so many Kelsey. We're gonna get some Donna Kelsey, Jason Kelsey, who we want on the show. Max wants him very badly, so he can become best friends with him. Any other storylines? I'm sure we'll get some. There's got to be some guys from Vegas.
Colin Cowherd's going to have the best time.
Yeah.
He's going to be in like old Vegas.
Yeah. Swingers.
Yeah.
Like, not the movie.
Yeah,
Like, he's actually going to be.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'll have Nerd Nuggets of the Super Bowl next Thursday.
Oh, nice.
With a new jingle.
Oh.
Special jingle for the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. What's the jingle gonna be?
Find out next Friday's show.
What's the CBS theme song? I can. By the way, when they do those things where they say how quickly can you identify the NFL theme songs, it's like quarter of a second for each one.
2 seconds.
But
it's only impressive when babies do it.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know what the CBS one is, but if I heard it, that's gonna be the.
This has nothing to do. This is not related whatsoever with the fact that we have the Super Bowl Nerd Nuggets with a new jingle next Thursday. I was actually thinking about this independent, but it does kind of relate. I don't want to die today, but it would rock to die on your birthday.
Would it?
Yeah, yeah, it would.
At the end of your birthday.
No, but it would rock to have like your grave. People would stop and be like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
But I just went out the way he came in.
But you'd go out as a 39-year-old, but you didn't really live 39 years.
I'd be fine. I'd be dead, and I wouldn't have to listen to the new Nerd Nugget jingle.
But not related.
Again, I don't want to die right now. I don't want to die right now.
No, but
I'm glad you made it clear.
But technically, you're not 39, right? Because you were never 0.
No, you're 39 after whatever time you were born. I don't even know what time I was born.
No, but
I was born in the morning.
But you were never 0 years old.
Oh,
it's like the argument of the millennium.
Yeah, I can't do that math. But I think it would rock to die on your birthday. Again, I don't want to die today. But if I did, please play the jingle and my ghost will come back and haunt everyone.
If I had to pick a day to die, it would be the day after a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it would suck to die the day before the season started.
Or the day I wish you were a really safe flight.
Yeah. Why'd you say it's so creepy?
Because he wanted us to die that day. I don't know
didn't
what
want
it
you to
was.
die.
Yeah, what
didn't
was
want
happening? What was happening?
I
that
didn't
day?
know. That was me just trying to be polite.
No, it's weird.
No,
It was not being weird. I wanted you guys to have a safe flight.
No, it was weird. You're weird. It was weird. You were weird. Any other Super Bowl storylines?
Yeah, this is the NFL Rigged is getting a lot of content.
Yeah.
This go around.
Yeah.
The NFL's rigged for views, for money. Yeah, it is. They literally changed the rule book to make offense better.
Correct.
So, yes, it is. It is rigged for money.
Yeah. They made
That's
us,
a tale as
made
old
us
as time.
download Peacock for
I think-
money.
Yes.
I think every single team that loses in the championship game spends like a week or two being like rigged.
They get this week.
Yeah.
They get this week to be like, it sucks, it's rigged, and then next week we talk about the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, it's totally fair. They deserve that time. It's funny because you say that the people have to jump off the whole color scheme pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come true. So they got to find something else.
Oh,
to say is rigged.
well, guess what it is? What are the primary colors? It's a lot of red, right?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, does she have any albums that feature the color red prominently?
What about Usher maybe getting sick and Taylor Swift doing the halftime show?
Oh, you think Goodell's going to get on the horn with Fauci?
I
Be
don't
like,
know.
give Usher a little cocoa.
What do they think?
I think they may just bring her out for a song.
No
Like,
way.
I don't think she'll do it.
You know what? Usher should be on stage. He should have a guitar, and after a song, he should be like, who wants Taylor to sing a song? And hold the guitar up and be like, come on, Taylor, there she is. Everybody tell Taylor. Make her say no. Make her like deny America that treat.
The one thing I am rooting for is I hope Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift
That would
on
be
the
awesome.
field after, not for the reasons you're saying. It's
It would break
awesome.
the internet.
No, but I don't root for that
The
reason.
show's on the internet.
I root for it because all the Swifties would have to do mental gymnastics to be like, that's so cute that her boyfriend proposed to her at a football game.
Well,
Because that's not cute.
they'd also be like, her boyfriend proposed to her in front of live cameras with all this pressure on her.
Yeah. Oh.
You're like, yeah.
That's
Like, she should-
she didn't give it.
True Swift. If you're a true Swiftie,
Yeah.
like me and Big Cat, you agree that Taylor should be the one that proposes to
Correct.
whoever her fiance is.
Travis Swift.
Travis Swift.
Should
He
be
should
his name.
take her last name.
But I want it to be I want it like to be on the Jumbotron, and then Swifties have to be like, that's so beautiful. It's like, I don't think so.
What if it wasn't even on camera? What if it was just like in between the third and fourth quarter, and it's like proposals sponsored by Coors Light?
Yeah.
Taylor,
That's what I'm rooting for.
Travis,
Yeah.
actually, how much would it cost to get something on the Jumbotron?
Ooh.
Because now the wheels are turning.
Will you marry me?
I would like to insert a proposal to Taylor
Yeah.
Swift from Travis Kelce on that jumbotron during the game. Can we try to find that out?
Yeah, or someone
look
else do
into
it
it.
for us. We don't care how it gets done.
Yeah, we don't care how it gets done.
It just has to say, Taylor, will you marry me, Travis Kelce?
Yeah, it must be impossible for somebody named Travis and Taylor to get engaged at a football game.
Yeah.
At an NFL game these days.
I bet you they're probably going to deny those.
Why?
I just feel like the Jumbotron people. They need the Michigan State Jumbotron people. They let anything through.
Yes, they will.
I denied an opportunity for us to take out a full page ad in the Super Bowl official program at the beginning of the season. It cost 6 figures.
Oh,
Really?
So I didn't even run it by you guys.
no.
Yeah, I would have said no to that. Thank
I
you.
would have said
Yeah,
no to
I
the
ran it
call.
by Max, and he's like, yeah, no shot.
Yeah.
That was a good.
No shot.
That was a good decision by Max.
No shot. No shot.
That's producing right there.
Yeah. I think we landed good with the Miami of Ohio student
Yeah, they're
newspaper.
great.
Yeah. Okay, let's do Hot Seat Cool Throne and we'll get to our interviews. Hot Seat Cool Throne brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Hanging with friends and family to watch the big game is the best. But as the game heats up, it can get intense. That's why Coors Light has a signature ice-cold refreshment to keep you feeling chill. For the big game, stock up on Coors Light and choose chill. You might even remember it, an iconic beer train that is known for spreading good vibes in Coors Light to those who need it. After 12 years on hiatus, Coors Light Beer Train is coming out of retirement for the big game. We're going to be cracking open an ice-cold Coors Light and listen to that sweet sound of Love Train. I'm so happy. One of the classic big game commercials. When it's time for a refresh, just open a Coors Light. When was it? It was 12 years ago, I'm thinking. So when that commercial first came out, I was like, this is the best beer ever because it's cold. It looks like a silver bullet.
I can't wait to turn 21 to have my first one of these.
The best. There's only one beer out there that's for the chillest big game, and that's Coors Light. Stock up or get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Henry.
My hot seat is myself and Memes, Connor. We are less than a week away from having to perform stand-up/live show in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do an hour. It's been hanging over my head for the last 3 weeks have been bad. And yeah, I've been in the hot seat. It's consumed my brain. I'm paralyzed with anxiety over it. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And it's crunch time.
You're actually going to be doing stand-up tonight at the Laugh Factory in Chicago.
Which I thought about not doing just because if it goes really, really, really poorly, then it's just going to make my fear and anxiety worse. But I'm sucking it up. I'm doing it tonight. And we'll see. I mean, this is the worst punishment we've ever done by far. And I'm dreading it.
Yeah, the good thing is you're not thinking about it at all. I think there's the 6th hot seat in a row.
Well, it was my Firefest last week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on your mind.
No, it is the only thing on my mind.
Yeah, no, I was joking. I know.
I haven't been able to.
I'm excited for it to be over because you have been not irritable, but irritable.
Yeah, it's it's bad. I don't even know. I'm trying to because I
Want my
usually
Hank back.
Tell you what, Hank.
I try to stay positive and be like, yeah, this is how I'm going to do it. But it's such a big task, and I'm so unprepared. And just you can't, even a good stand up, it would be hard for them to do an hour.
Let's practice. Tell me a joke.
Or have me. I'm the joke.
Have you
It's
thought
pretty
about trying to break the record for longest time underwater and just be carted off in an ambulance?
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Just hey everyone, we're gonna break a record tonight, and then you just pass out, and then we just have to show's over. He died or almost died.
Yeah, or drown to get CPR, and then when I come back, it'd be a great pop.
Yeah, Undertaker moment.
And I have to do 55 minutes.
And if you don't come back, you don't have to do the rest of the show.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
The endorphins are going to be so high when you're done, though.
Yeah,
You're going to get
drink
a runner's
1,000
high.
beers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a new man. It truly is a second take on life
yeah, you got this.
because I've never really had anxiety and I have moments of anxiety at different points, but I've never had something that's hanging over my head the way this has,
Yeah,
and it's not fun. I envy people that suffer from daily anxiety.
yeah,
This time next week, it'll be over.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
All right,
it.
you got it. All right, what's your cool throne?
My cool throne is Gardner Minshew,
Oh,
Pro Bowler.
Oh,
Hey,
huge.
I always like
with
how
Jalen Hurts as well.
I like how the NFL
That was such an insult stat. Like,
just throws in the worst quarterbacks for Pro Bowl.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
we didn't
Jalen
say
Hurts
that.
isn't that bad.
it was very funny being like, oh yeah, Jalen Hurts didn't make the Pro Bowl this year. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Yeah,
Good for
congrats to Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. Joins the list of Tyler Huntley,
Mac Jones.
Mitch Trubisky, Pro
Elite.
Bowlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, PFT, your hot seat cool run.
Interestingly enough, my hot seat is Mac Jones.
Oh.
So, did you see the story about Mac Jones this season? How he was complaining. So when he was going like back and forth, is he going to be benched? Is Bailey Zappi going to be the starter? Belichick not saying who the starter is going to be. Who would be on the list of people that you would complain to about something like that, Big Cat, if you're the Patriots starting quarterback?
So if you're the Patriots starting quarterback,
Yeah.
who would be the list?
Dan Shaughnessy.
Yeah,
Mike
maybe,
Florio?
maybe a reporter, maybe
Albert Breer?
maybe family members. You
Oh,
probably
okay,
talk
family
to them.
members. Yeah.
Yeah, Mac Jones actually complained to the Jets
Oh.
about it. So, yeah, the Patriots quarterback was on an island. According to team sources, the communication had broken down, and he was demoted to third string. And leading up to this game, the quarterback reps were split, and he called it a broken relationship. And then he apparently talked to people on the Jets about it, as per Jerry Horton on BarstoolSports.com. So
Jerry Thornton?
Jerry Thornton.
Thornton, here's a who?
Yeah, sorry, I dropped the T for him. But yeah, so I don't know what that says about Mac and his future on the team. Probably nothing good.
No.
Well, the guy that hates the Jets is gone.
Yeah, that's true. You think the new guy's going to like him?
No, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I also saw a report that looked like it was from Mac Jones' camp that said he got benched and then tried to be as helpful as he could and got shunned.
Oh.
But it read like
Mac Jones' mom wrote that report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like shunned him?
Like they were like, no,
like
we
Bill
don't want
Belichick
your
didn't
help.
speak to him.
Yeah, we don't want your help. Shunned.
Like he was like, hey guys, no problem being benched. How can I help? And they were like, get the fuck out of
get
there.
out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your cool throne?
Yeah, it says, sorry, real quick. The Patriots quarterback was so bothered by his team's lack of communication, he told a member of the Jets staff that he appreciated how their organization handled Zach Wilson. He was like, I wish that was me. Congrats to the Jets. You beat the Patriots. Twice. That's 2 consecutive dubs memes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my cool throne, I got a couple. Jalen Warren is my first cool throne.
Okay.
He's a backup running back on the Steelers. New offensive coordinator of the Steelers, Arthur Smith.
Yes.
Loves backup running backs, and Jalen Warren's a really damn good backup running back. So
yes. Run the ball.
big gear coming for him. I'm happy for Arthur.
Yes, me too.
Feel like that's a good spot for him. He's a good offensive coordinator.
He's a great dude too.
and a good guy.
I'm rooting for him.
And my other cool throne is going to be anonymous scouts, because they're back. It's getting into being draft season. Caleb Williams, presumed number 1 overall draft pick this year, has been the trashing has started.
Oh yeah.
With Caleb Williams.
Oh yeah.
And I, for one, would like to agree with the anonymous scout that if I were picking number 1 in the draft, I would not take him. I would let him fall down to whatever team is behind the number 1 overall pick.
Yes.
And let them have a shot at him. But the anonymous scouts are going off about Caleb Williams, saying
I will not be deterred.
Saying things like, remember he paints his nails?
Yeah, that's
with
fine.
Vulgarity. They said he had a panic attack and a public breakdown, a mental breakdown, and cried.
No chance.
And then he answers questions at the podium by saying weird things like, I'm going to go home, cuddle with my dogs.
Yeah.
These are all big
dog guy.
These are all big red flags
Nah.
for any team. And I would
I'd rather be a dog guy than a cat guy.
if you're drafting number 1 overall and you have a quarterback that loves his dogs, I would be like, I don't know if I want this guy on my team, and let some other team get him.
I want him. He's a dog.
So yeah, they said that he is having a mental breakdown after losses this year, and it's definitely there's some connection with a team that wants Caleb Williams that is putting this out there.
Correct.
But I choose to believe all this, and if I were the Bears, I would take a very long, hard look.
Tell you what, if
at
there's
Caleb Williams,
I would be more concerned about the guy who doesn't get any negative press, because that means he's just not good enough to get that.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. If Drake May has no negative anonymous sources about him, that means everyone just thinks he stinks.
I don't know.
I don't think he stinks, by the way.
What is I think it was Eminem that said, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Caleb Williams is popping.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Stephen Chase said
Credit
that.
to
If you don't
Eminem.
have haters, you don't have fans.
Yeah. Haters are a marketing team.
Yeah.
He also said that.
All right, my hot seats. It's a little bit of a weird one. It's new Panthers head coach Dave Canales. So, congrats to Dave Canales for getting the job. This is kind of a lesson in like maybe don't ever get that big job, because then people will start like looking at your life. Dave Canales co-wrote a book with his wife about marriage a few years ago. And now people are like, hey, what's the deal with this? So he co-wrote a book called This Marriage? The Question That Changed Everything. In the book, Canales, 42, admits to having had multiple affairs earlier in his life. A portion of the book concerns his sexual infidelity and how the couple worked their way through it, partly through counseling, which they advocate, and eventually found their way back to a Christian-based marriage. Canales also described in the book the addictions he once had to both pornography and alcohol.
And we would never have found this out if he didn't become a head coach.
No chance.
Yeah.
And it was actually published, I think, 2 years ago, so somewhat recent. It sounds like his wife made him write a book.
Yeah, if you're co-authoring a book with your wife, it's
talking about your porn addiction?
or you say like, this is my big gesture to prove to you that I'm over this, is I will write a book with you and we'll each put our name on it, just talking about what a bad husband I am.
Yes.
It's like a self-flagellation, being like, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
I used to be a bad guy. Is this okay, honey? Is everything cool now? Because I wrote that. Your name was on it. We're getting paid off it.
Yeah, see?
See?
I apologized in public.
Yeah, he told everyone.
He told everyone.
Which is also kind of a weird move. When did you write this book?
2022.
Okay, so he was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
For an
Or maybe not the Bucks. I think he might have been with the Rams then.
It'd be a little bit weirder if he didn't have a prominent job at the time and he just wrote a book about how he sucked as a husband up until then.
Yeah. Yeah, he was Seahawks quarterbacks coach then. Which is like, if you're a quarterbacks coach, you can write that book. No one's going to care.
Yeah.
But then you went to OC, then you went to head coach. I'm happy that they figured out their marriage. That's a great story. Probably has some good lessons on like how marriage is tough. I don't know if I'd ever want to write a book being like, hey, I jerked off a lot and I cheated on my wife and here's how I did it.
So it sounds to me like he wasn't addicted enough to pornography
Right.
if he was cheating on his wife.
Right.
If you're completely addicted to pornography, you got no bullets left in the chamber.
Right.
He should have watched more porn, then he would
He's
have been fine.
addicted to coming.
Yeah.
I'm sure no rival fan bases will use that against him.
No.
All right, my cool throne is Dylan Brooks. He's back. You thought he would be deterred by being publicly humiliated by LeBron last year. But nope, he's not. He was just going after LeBron last night, hit him real hard in the face. Not that hard. LeBron made it seem like he was never going to have a face again. LeBron made it seem like he needed facial reconstruction surgery because he got hit in the face.
Well, he was seeing 3 rims. 3 rims. So he hit the one in the middle afterwards.
I'm just happy because Dylan Brooks, like, I didn't want him to just stop being a total asshole.
No, he's the LeBron stopper.
Yeah.
This is what he does.
Yeah. He does everything but stop LeBron.
Yeah.
He's LeBron stopper. He shows you all the ways to not be able to stop LeBron. All right. Your hot seat, cool throne, Jake.
My hot seat's Heat culture. Have to be accountable here and say the Heat have lost 7 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost every game since they extended Eric Spoelstra, and this is really a crossroads for your season. I mean,
scary hours.
Yeah, you have to bounce back here. This is where the documentary starts, or this is where everything lights up and is a disaster.
So Kyle Lowry, what do you think about him?
Well, he's out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, so you're correct on that.
Like, was he was he a big part of Heat culture?
He might have been.
No, Jay Butt's Heat culture.
Yeah, so like this is where Jimmy Butler has to rally the troops and say
Heat culture.
Heat culture.
Heat culture.
Or you can just become the 8th seed again and do what you did last year.
That might be the roadmap, actually.
Yeah.
Just like stink in the regular season, and then you get to the playoffs and you flip.
None
the
of these
culture
losses
switch.
during this streak have been particularly close. I was in the Garden Saturday, and the Knicks were playing well.
Yeah.
They looked good. And my cool thrones, the 3-point challenge. We have a new contest coming to the NBA All-Star Weekend. It is Steph versus Sabrina Ionescu in a 3-point contest.
So how many did she make
Who's
last
that?
time? You know Sabrina.
Sabrina from Oregon?
Kobe.
Oh, yeah.
New York Liberty.
No,
never
you
heard of
definitely
her?
know her. She was.
No, I'm listen.
Kobe was her mentor.
I support women.
I definitely knew Sabrina.
I know who she is.
So this is going to be a cool challenge. We're going one-on-one.
Yeah.
Beam, stop laughing.
Well, she is like
trying to make underrated faces to the camera. Stop laughing.
I'm shocked you don't know who that is.
I'm sure I do.
Yeah, she's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, duh. I knew that. Sabrina from Oregon.
Yeah.
There was a
She's
bunch
a great
of
3-point shooter.
Yeah.
there was a bunch
Good
of
point,
media
Hank.
around her when Kobe died because her and Kobe were like best friends.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Caitlin Clark.
I know
Caitlin
Caitlin Clark.
occupies all the space.
Angel Reese.
Yeah, Angel Reese.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, but they're going head to head, so this will be cool to
From
watch.
the same 3-point line?
No, Steph will be shooting from the NBA line. Sabrina will be shooting from the WNBA line.
Swap it. Let Steph go for the WNBA line.
What about the balls?
NBA balls and WNBA balls.
I like this just because it's going to make some people very upset
Oh, yeah.
online. That's going to be fun to watch.
If she beats him,
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
All right.
Or if-
listen, they need to add more stuff, so I'm good. I'm in on this.
It's really a win for content because if she beats him, then people are going to get very angry about some things.
Yeah.
If she gets blown out, then people are going to be very angry about something.
Right.
Yeah.
So either way, we're going to have a lot of people pissed off in this country.
Yeah, the only way it can work is if Sabrina has an incredible misses 3 shots and then Steph misses 2.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, holy shit, they're both incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
I predict if she wins, Joe Biden will issue a tweet congratulating her.
Maybe Dr. Jill.
And then people will say, would he have congratulated Steph Curry if he won?
Right.
I'm going to put that down. That's a future. I'm squatting on that take.
And if Steph kills her, Clay Travis will be like, this is a mockery of my once loved NBA All-Star weekend.
Yes.
And I'm not watching because of China.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Good job, Jake. All right, let's get to our interviews. We got 2 great interviews. We got Joe Buck and then Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, before we get to these interviews, I want to take some time to talk to you about our great friends over at Peloton. I love Peloton. I am a Peloton user. I'm back on the bike. We're doing Buns of Anarchy. I'm taking classes. It's a great way to work out. If you're looking for some motivation, they've got the live leaderboard. It keeps you dialed in. You can forget the noise and pressure around fitness at New Year's. You can start in a way that works for you. I've found that competition works for me. I hold myself accountable more often. If I'm biking with people, if I'm exercising with people, gives me a reason to be there, and I feel like I can't let the other people down if I'm not in the class, and it makes me go to it more often, which keeps me in better shape. Peloton makes it easier to get started. You can buy a bike or Bike Plus and get 2 months free Peloton all-access membership. Peloton helps you start no matter what level you're at, whether you're starting as a beginner. You've got thousands of classes to get you moving, whether that's beginner or advanced rides. You can do a feel-good live DJ ride. You can do an artist-themed ride. They've got you covered. You can get started with Peloton's New Year offers. Head to onepeloton.com/deals. Terms apply. And now, here's Joe Buck.
Okay, we now welcome on one of our favorite guests, favorite friends, probably the guy that we actually, I don't know if you get this, Joe, but whenever we have listeners ask us, what was our big first moment, usually your name comes up. It is Joe Buck, Hall of Fame broadcaster. Are you in a Hall of Fame yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Which
I'm in
one?
I got an award from the pro football one.
That's not in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. I completely agree.
Is there
but I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's
Okay.
they give awards in my category. You're not really a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
there should be a voice Hall of Fame.
Yeah. You're in it.
Big game voice Hall of Fame member, Joe Buck.
Yeah.
I'll accept that without any committees voting on it or anything. But yeah, I do know that I get the same stuff. I whatever last game we did, I think I was in, where would I have been? Baltimore. And I saw somebody out the night before the game. And they're like, "Oh my God, I love you. I love you on Pardon My Take. I mean, those guys make so much fun of you. I mean, I'm sorry those guys hate you." I'm like, I don't think they hate me.
Would you not?
I hope not. And if they do, then I'll never go on again. But I've convinced me that you don't hate me.
We
Go.
do not hate you. If we hated you, we are like sociopaths.
Well, I think it was a beautiful moment because when you first came on the show, we didn't know what to expect from you. I don't think you knew what to expect from us.
Totally,
But
yeah.
at the same time, we kind of figured out we really like Joe Buck. And then Joe Buck was like, I kind of like what these guys are about.
I was scared to death. An old PR guy at Fox, great guy, Jonathan Butnick, is like, "You got to go on the show. It's great and it's different and it's a younger audience." And I went on, and you guys were obviously making fun of the size of my head, and I said shit and fucking words that I don't typically say into a microphone. And I got off the thing. I was like, all right, I held my own against those fucking punks. And then and then I texted Jonathan. I said, I think I might get fired for this. I'm not sure. But yeah, I live to tell.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are forever grateful for your friendship and what you've done for us. But it's good to have you on. We figured end of the season, hadn't talked to you in a while. First question is, why aren't you on vacation? Are you not taking a vacation after the season? Because I have to imagine after every football season, you let out like a big sigh of like, that was awesome, but I can now get my life back a little bit.
A little bit, but I think now that there's no more baseball in my life, I think it's kind of more depressing than anything for me, because I think you get competitive, and I think, I think all of our different groups that do what we do at NBC and CBS and us and Kevin and Greg, I mean, everybody's competitive to some degree, and it's like, oh man, now they're doing the NFC champ game, or oh, they're doing the AFC champ game, and we're sitting there watching it with the rest of the world, and you watch it going, oh, I wish I was doing that game. But yeah, it's a nice feeling to be finished, but there's kind of an emptiness too that's weird.
Sounds like you want baseball back in your life. You actually sound exactly like us when the football season ends.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of other sports out there. Is there one event, not talking about another man's job, is there another event that you'd like to call? Like in your dream scenario, would you like to just parachute in, do the Olympics, and get out?
Oh my God, no. No, I'm so happy that other people do all these other sports. I did a bunch of college basketball when I was young. I've done horse jumping. I've done live bass fishing. I've done Robbie Knievel jumping over limousines in Vegas. Checked a lot of boxes, guys. I've checked a lot of boxes, and I'm happy to just be just checking one.
Monster trucks would be good too.
Yeah.
You ever thought about that?
Oh.
Yeah, but do you have to do the talk?
You got to go Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in your contract, but we do have a mini golf 3-day mini golf tournament coming up. You could get in that. No?
No.
We did. You are calling.
You guys hated me doing golf anyway, so why would I do that?
Yeah, no, you weren't good at golf.
Shut up.
All right, so season's over. It probably does suck. You're right. Like watching all these big games, you're like I want to be in the mix. 2027 is when you have the Super Bowl again. Do you have like a big countdown clock in your house? That would be sick, like the rivalry clocks that college football has.
Yeah, that would go over huge in the house. No, and I think it's probably a natural reaction to feel that way. I am friends with everybody that I watched yesterday, and we do get to do a divisional game, which is nice. We didn't get that year one, so that's a new part of the deal. But yeah, I'm good. I'm just venting. I'm just being as open as I can be. That when you finish after going week to week, and it's over, it feels like there's a hole in your life a little bit.
It's a sign that you truly love your job, like that, because we do have that same feeling where when you love your job and then you kind of unplug for a minute, you miss it a little bit, where you're like, that's what kind of gets me going every morning is like the job.
Yeah, and I'm 54. I've got 5.5-year-old twins. They've been sick and out of school for the last 2 weeks.
Brutal.
And I've had enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go back to work.
Get the kids back to school. I've been saying that because I had a stretch where it was like my son's school didn't start for a week in January, and then it was a day where it was 0 degrees. They canceled it. Get the kids back in school.
Yeah.
They got to go to school.
Got to go to school.
Get them to school.
We're basically homeschooling right now, which I am not qualified to do. I have no interest in that. I have no patience for that. I have no, as I said, qualifications. But we're here like how to teach a 5-year-old the correct direction to start an S. That's my life now. So
does one of the two of them have the Buck voice? Can you tell already?
One of the two of them is kind of the athlete. And the other one is going to be like a Disney kid entertainer singer. And that's the one that Michelle claims. I claim the athlete.
Okay.
I'm not certain I should, but I feel like that's kind of how it's broken down with the twins in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to work with them on their diction, on their pronunciation?
No.
Okay.
My dad did that. And we would drive home from Cardinal games night after night after night. And that was really the only thing that he was on me for. It was more about diction and not falling into the same traps of saying the same ground ball to shortstop is not a chopper to short every time. You got to change it up. You got to vary things. It was more that, not here's how you call a home run. Here's how you call a double into the gap. It's more about kind of the mechanics of it. And if they want to, sure, but I would never. I'm not going to be that dad that's pushing kids into something.
Yeah. Have you had the thought that the way the media has changed, it's probably more likely that one of your two sons will end up being a shithead podcaster like us than being an announcer like you?
Yeah, I would say the odds are better.
Yeah.
They will be, in your words, shithead podcasters.
We could teach them. You tell them to get them to Uncle Big Cat and Uncle PFT.
This is they're a podcast, and then they're a podcast. I tried the podcast thing for 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. It was fun. I enjoyed it. We had great guests, and we had no traction whatsoever. So that's just the way it goes.
You got to piss your pants.
Yeah, you got to be bigger shitheads.
Yeah.
You weren't shithead enough.
When I get fired, which it will happen at some point, the podcast will be infinitely better. I promise.
Well, I think the problem you might have run into is that you started doing the podcast when you were already Joe Buck, and you didn't have really anything. You already had a lot to lose, so you were already kind of like at the top of your profession, so you couldn't really shit on anything.
That's
when we
true.
started,
And
we can be assholes, and then that's how you gain followers, being assholes.
yeah, no, I totally agree with that. You're right. I did it with Oliver Hudson, who is one of my closest friends, and he was in the category of I've got nothing to lose. I'll talk about smoking weed. I'll talk about my sex life. I'll talk about it. And I'm just sitting on the sidelines like, God, I can't, I'm just going to sit this one out and let you do your thing. And then I'll pick it up when you're finished.
Yeah. Maybe you and Artie Lang start a podcast together.
Yeah.
I would do it.
I would do it.
What is it like though, living in the area, because you live in Missouri and the Kansas City Chiefs, like it's crazy the run they've been on. They are the new Patriots. Do you just see it everywhere where people are starting to maybe, stick their chest out a little bit more, and it's, well,
this side of the state has completely adopted the Chiefs, which I did not expect. When I was at Fox and they would do these regional, you do a regional game on Sunday, and it's like, well, St. Louis obviously cares about Kansas City, so we'll send that game. This was obviously pre-Mahomes and all that, and I was like, we're in the same state, but I don't know. I don't think Kansas City really cares about what's going on over here, but it is a thing. I mean, it's everywhere in St. Louis. They have a legitimate fan base of fans who said, okay, the Rams left. We're now all going to the Chiefs, and the timing of it was such that they're fun to watch and easy to root for.
They are fun to watch, and we've had the debate of whether or not they're easy to root for. I still think they kind of are, because every time you watch Mahomes, he does something that makes you shake your head and say, holy shit, I've never seen a quarterback do that. How is this possible? But I feel like there is a growing fatigue with the Kansas City Chiefs. Have you felt that?
Well, I mean, I think some of that's natural, but I'm with you. I'm amazed at Patrick Mahomes. He's a legitimate good guy that I think has a really big heart. When you talk to their PR folks, they're like, you should see what this guy does when nobody's looking, when cameras aren't there. He's not, everybody does the photo op at the hospital, but he does stuff that nobody has any idea about just because he's a good guy. In sports, I think you find the good people and they're easy to root for. And I think he and Travis are really good guys. I mean, it can be overload because they're on every commercial. You stop action and you go to commercials, and it's Travis and it's Patrick and it's Andy Reid, but that comes with success in today's world. I would rather celebrate him than fight it all.
It's really unfair that he's that good of a guy. It's kind of like Steph Curry, where it's like you try to nitpick, and there's really the only thing you can say is like maybe he complains a little bit to the refs, but like he's also just gamesmanship. That's also gamesmanship. So it's like it really sucks. He's so good, and I wish there was one thing that he did wrong where I could be like, I knew it. He's not a good guy, but he's a great guy.
And he showed during, I think a couple times during this season alone, how good of a teammate he is when guys were dropping passes downfield and Tony lined up offside. And I mean, now he got pissed that game and then apologized for it. But prior to that, with drop after drop, he kept putting the blame on himself. And I don't know. I don't see that everywhere. So again, I mean, he's an easy guy to root for.
Yeah.
So we're talking about comparing him with Tom Brady, and through the first few years of their careers, Mahomes is definitely like on pace with Tom Brady. Obviously, Tom Brady, you could break it into 3 separate Hall of Fame careers that he had, and the longevity was incredible. But I think he went 10 years between his 3rd and 4th Super Bowl. So Mahomes is like he's right on track, if not a little bit ahead of the Tom Brady route. Do you see? Is that a fair comparison? Are we being fair by mentioning them in the same breath?
I mean, I think so. I think you can project forward as long as they can keep some of that core together. But if Kelsey walks away, it seems like his brother's ready to hang it up. And who knows? I mean, if it's another year, another 2 years, at some point, that's going to change. I think the brilliance of Tom Brady was showing year after year that he could do it with whatever cast of teammates he was given. I mean, yes, you had Belichick, you had a really good defense, but it was always evolving, and he never had a true number 1 receiver in their prime who was just shredding defenses. It's the most impressive thing to me about Tom Brady. I mean, Gronk was amazing. But he seemed to be able to shift and change to what he had around him. And those slot guys, that whole, transition from, I guess it would be Welker was first up, and, Amendola fit in there, and obviously Edelman. But he just, I don't know. He seemed to do the most with the least that I've seen in any sport I've covered.
It sounds like you still have a grudge against Randy Moss.
Well, I mean, he was at the end. I have no grudge against him.
Sounds like you and Randy still not on.
It was a disgusting end.
It was.
Disgusting.
I saw that you wish that you could have taken that back. I wish you would stick to it, though.
Yeah.
I wish you would still
Double
be
down.
offended. Be like, yeah, it was disgusting. It was abhorrent. I stopped watching football.
Yeah.
I did games with my eyes closed after that.
True. Yeah, that would go a long way in helping me navigate the world around me.
Yeah. Have you had
I mean, I listened to it. I'm like, I don't know why it hit me that way that night. And then I think when I hear it now, I don't even know what year that was, like 04, 03, somewhere in there. It's like, whoa, I don't think my mind would even go there. I don't know why.
You might have had baseball brain at the time, because you don't see stuff like that happen in baseball. If you do, you wear a fastball in the ribs next time you're up. But if it's in football, you might still be in that mindset where it's like, whoa, this is ungentleman. This is unbecoming of America's pastime.
Yeah, I don't know. Young dad at the time, I don't know what it is. And then I've said 100 times since then, my wife was obviously at ESPN before me. And of all the people on the Monday Night Crew, when he was a part of the Monday Night Crew, nobody was better to her. And then when I would go see her on a Monday night, Randy would be the guy that would hop up and come down off the set and give me a big hug. And I mean, there's like zero remnants from that in Randy's mind. And I don't think he cared then, to be honest with you.
No,
and
he
he
definitely
sure as hell doesn't care now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's something fans just stick with. Have you had moments like, whether it be calling the Cubs win the World Series, or the Patriots coming back from 28-3, or Brooks Koepka winning the U.S. Open, your iconic calls where you're like, all right, this finally will bury the Randy Moss thing?
No, I don't. That is nothing that I think about ever, unless I'm asked about it on a podcast.
Yeah, I would think the U.S. Open call would at least have gotten people to forget it.
Iconic.
The Koepka girlfriend thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's have that replace the Moss one, and then I'll just go to my grave with those two.
You might be hitting your prime right now. When do broadcasters hit their prime?
Oh, yeah. I think you are.
I don't know.
I think you're in your prime.
Yeah, I think when the give a shitter kind of gets pushed down a little bit, and you can be a little bit more yourself, and you feel like you don't have to prove yourself every time you do a game. And I don't even know if that ever leaves you. I think you probably get better when you get into your 50s than you were, and then I was back in my 30s.
Yeah,
probably.
I think you're in your prime. The other thing with you, and we've said this to you before, but the thing that comes across in the broadcast is that you and Troy are real friends. And I think that's, when it comes to like what you want to watch the chemistry between two people. So you were able to go in that Lions-Cowboys game. Jimmy Johnson gets into the Ring of Honor. Were you able to like hang out with Troy and all the guys that weekend? Because what was that like? It must have been incredible to see all these guys from the Cowboys all together? I know you've met all of them, but all of them in one place.
It's a good question, and to see Troy walk into that group in a luxury suite or in the back room at that stadium. I don't know. I weirdly took a lot of pride in that. I was happy for him because I know that he was a big reason why all that came to pass. Jimmy Johnson is kind of a father figure to Troy. And I know it was because it was important to Jimmy, it was important to Troy to try to bridge that gap, whatever gap still existed between Jerry and Jimmy. And, it was certainly not only Troy, but Charlotte was a big part of it. And Jerry, I think, really came across the midline there and made sure, even with the stuff he said in the stadium that night at halftime, I thought it was just a great couple of days for all of us and for Troy to experience that. That is part of the true friendship, that I was just kind of standing back watching him interact and to see the hugs and the real respect that really a room full of Hall of Famers have for him. Makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Do you know what the deeper story behind that was? I know there were power struggles because you got two big personalities that are both, they want a lot of credit for building those incredible Dallas Cowboys teams. But it feels like the hatchet could have been buried, 15, 20 years ago. Were there things going on behind the scenes where they were still kind of like at each other's throat? Or is this just completely remnants of how it ended?
I think it was more remnants, and then the frustrating thing to everybody who, and I think the world of Jerry too, who really appreciate and love and respect those two guys, is every time over years when you would see them together, it was like, wait, what's the problem here? Because they were like brothers when they were together for whatever it was, 15, 20 years, even when all that stuff was going on, or some of that was still hanging over the situation. You'd see them together, and we had them on the set at a Hall of Fame game in Canton. We had seen them together in the Hall of Fame. Jerry would come to Fox events. Jimmy would. It's like, what's the problem here? Because they were so good when they were together, and thankfully, whatever those issues were, and I don't profess to know all of them, they finally just flushed it and got together, and Jimmy deserves to be in there, and he is.
Yeah. What was your favorite game this year that you called? You had an incredible run where I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 of the last games that you did, the underdog won outright. It was like awesome to watch. It felt like every Monday night the underdog was winning outright. What was your favorite game though?
Yeah, all of them kind of have their own little personality after you get finished with them, but one of the most fun games we did all year was the Tommy Cutlets game.
Yes.
Which I would never think going in. It's like, hey, are we going to flex out of this? And then, DeVito, just the rise of Tommy DeVito, and he played really well. And the Packers came into that game on a nice run, and then they lose to the Giants and the agent and the family and the seats. There was so much fun going on around a really compelling game that, yeah, you could say Philly at Kansas City was really good, and the playoff games were fun, and even the Week 18 game that we had. On and on and on. But the ones that have fun and personality and something you don't expect are the ones that stand out in my mind. The rest of them kind of blend together.
What year do you think you'll be asked to be in the Tommy DeVito documentary? Because you will have to be in it.
I will decline. I would say probably 5
we might
years
be producing it.
It could be.
I'm going to develop.
You can't decline. We're going to ask you. Yeah.
I'm going to ask myself the questions and talk about what was going through my mind when we showed the agent in the stands and Tommy on the field doing his. Yeah.
It might actually just be next year.
Yeah.
The way that things are going now, you just fast forward to nostalgia. It takes like 1 year, and then you're like, oh yeah, let's go rehash that.
It's so true.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough production companies that are looking for content. So if there's some place that will air it, it'll get made.
You found it right here.
I love it.
So you're no stranger to controversy, Joe. And the other week,
I am so controversial.
You were wearing a very controversial piece of clothing up in the booth. It was the ESPN Monday Night Football jacket. That one. So some people thought it was it was kind of like the dress. What color is it? Some people thought it was a great jacket. Some people thought that it stunk. So I'm curious to know, when you put it on, did you feel good? Or were you like, oh, man, I can't believe I have to wear this?
I felt good. It felt a little too puffy for my taste. It felt a little too roomy. I feel like a coat to keep you warm should be more snug. But other than that, I don't know. Some people hated it?
Yeah,
Because I heard
Some people
everybody
loved it.
seemed
Some
to
people
love
hated it. Yeah. It was kind of
so
mixed
funny
bag.
what people care about. It's kind of amazing.
Also,
Well,
you were on screen for about like 30 seconds in
Yeah.
the game. People were like, I can't believe he's wearing this thing.
Joe did, to Joe's credit, after we roasted Greg Olson's jacket, Joe did send me a picture of the jacket he was wearing the next game. So it's good to know that we're inside that huge head of his.
Yeah,
at
you
all
are.
times.
I because my jacket that week was almost a reverse of what Greg wore that week. So mine was gray with like kind of white stripes, and his was like dark with light stripes or something.
Yeah.
that stood out a little bit, let's say, on camera.
The internet's so mean. Like, just thinking about it from your perspective, you're just wearing what you're supposed to wear.
Oh my god!
And everyone's
it's
like, this guy's a fucking clown. And when I say the internet, obviously we're the mean part. Like, we're part of this.
right.
We're the ringleaders.
But I somehow became a clown because I was wearing that jacket. That's
Some people thought it was
Awesome.
too. I mean, you said it yourself. Some people thought it was too puffy.
Too
It
puffy.
looked like that AI image of the Pope where he was doing a rap battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need
Oh,
deflation.
I missed that one too. I really got to get on the internet more.
No, I mean, like when I say things like that out loud, I realize what a waste of time I spend sometimes online. And you're like, no, I haven't seen the computer generated image of Pope looking like 8 Mile.
Yeah, having this conversation just in general, where it's like Joe is just wearing whatever's in his closet, and then it's reverse what I just said, because it occupies so much brain space for us. We're the ones that have need to touch.
You
grass.
guys fan the Flames, like
Yeah.
with the playoff Lenny or playoff Damien or whatever that was in the Super Bowl. And I sent you the screenshot of the little blurb in the Kansas City newspaper, like, hey, asshole,
Playoff Damien.
I didn't make this up. This was a thing in Kansas City, so shut up.
What do we have for playoff player this year? Is it playoff Juszczyk?
Yeah.
He had that
Oh.
nice catch yesterday.
He did.
Couple runs.
Yeah.
Playoff Marquez.
Playoff Pacheco is pretty cool.
Playoff Pacheco works.
Yeah.
That's got a nice alliteration thing.
I think it's got to
going
be
on
a
there.
running back.
If you're doing a Super Bowl, once the broadcast starts, how much of it is different from calling a normal big game as opposed to this massive cultural event that is the Super Bowl? Or do you keep it exactly the same?
I mean, I could say that you try to keep it exactly the same, but there's just no way. You feel it. You feel a little bit of the pressure, and you have to put that out of your mind. But I mean, that roughly 100 million people are on the other side of that. I am smart enough to know that of the 100 million people, about 1/1,000,000th care about what we're actually saying on the broadcast, and there's a large part of the audience just waiting for the commercials to start. So I understand all that, but yeah, it's like you go all year and then you only get judged kind of on how the Super Bowl goes the years that you have it. And it can be intimidating if you let it in. So that's why last year, Kevin and Greg did a fantastic job. There's a small group of people who know what that's like when the red light goes on and you're talking to 100+ million people. And I was proud of those two guys. Not that they care, but I was. And I know it's not easy. So, they did great, and you try to keep it normal, but it's impossible.
It's scary. Yeah. So we've had the joy of calling a couple games here at Barstool. I don't think we're going to be doing any more, but at what point in journalism school do they teach you that you shouldn't yell at the players about your bets and that they should shoot the ball more? Because
Day one.
Oh, really? Day one? I got criticized for that. I guess that's a no-no?
Well, yeah, it's not good to bring your betting interest into actual play-by-play. I think if next time, when that time comes, I would say just leave that, before you put the headset on. Just don't let your mind go there.
I just wanted him to shoot. That's all. And he was right there. He was like 5 feet from me.
So this was not like a criticism from the listeners.
No,
or
people,
the viewers. This was a criticism from the actual player that you were yelling.
No, from the media. The rest of the media jumped on me and they were like, "This is disgusting. How could they do this?" It was
that word again.
Yeah, it was the first game in the college basketball season, and it was a 20-point blowout. And yeah, I might have been yelling for the guy to shoot with like a minute left.
But isn't that why you're there?
Yes, exactly. And there's 10,000 college basketball games in a year.
Yeah, that's this kind of stuff that frustrates me when it's like, come on, they want to put everybody in the same box, and there's room for that stuff. So I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I just enjoy it, do it your way, and don't read whatever some media critic says about it.
I would say especially in college basketball.
Yeah.
With how many games there are.
If we're calling a big game, I'd understand it. People don't want to hear that, but it's like it was the first game of the season.
Yeah. Do they
who was? Go ahead.
It was Loyola versus Arizona State. No, Florida. Loyola against FAU. Mississippi State, ASU, and it was an ASU player, and it was like a 20-point blowout, and we were just screaming, shoot, shoot, shoot.
Yeah, but again, if you're tuning in, you know that's kind of what you're going to get, so who cares?
Okay, looks like journalism school is a waste of money.
Yeah. Do they have rules against you betting on the games at ESPN?
I have no idea. I don't want to test it. I don't want to find out. So it's easy to avoid all that. I don't. I play fantasy football. Does that count? Is that betting? I mean, there's some sort of cash prize at the end if you win, which I did like 6 years ago one time. So I don't know.
You know what I'll do? Because you are a good friend.
Look it up. Look it up for me.
Every Monday night next year, I'm going to text you what I bet so that you can feel like you're rooting for me.
Well, that's another thing that drives me crazy. People ask me all the time, like, hey, I know you're doing this game. Who do you like? And my answer every time is, lose your own money. I don't want it in my head when I'm watching it. I've been screwed up beyond belief when my daughter, Trudy, who's an avid fantasy football player, will go, it comes down to your game, and I've got, whoever. I've got Patrick Mahomes if he has X number of points. And so the entire game, I'm thinking about Trudy's fantasy football team instead of what my actual job is. So that's the kind of stuff that gets in your head that screws you up.
Okay, so I want that. I want you to be thinking about my bet. Yeah,
I'll block you.
So wait, when you won your fantasy football league a couple years ago, were you calling games that then impacted your scores?
Yeah, at some point during the course of the year. I forget. I think Russell Wilson was my quarterback the year I won. So yeah, for sure. We did 1 million Seahawks.
Did you find yourself getting like a little extra excited when he'd score?
No, it's funny. It's kind of back in that same category of the whole baseball. Who are you rooting for? And doing like a Cardinal game. And, I'm sure you went to bed in your Cardinal PJs the night before and you got up and for some reason, I mean, it's easy to put that stuff out of your head. But if there was a down moment, I would definitely check the score to see, because I don't know how the scoring in any league I've ever been in works. So I will check it every once in a while. Like, hey, is that enough? And yeah, but it doesn't really screw me up.
Yeah. All right. So Joe, thank you so much. I have one last question. Rowback question, RHOBACK.com. Use promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, rowback.com. So a question and a statement first. Joe has been nice enough to, we could only afford him for 90 seconds of our baseball video. So we paid him for 90 seconds. We didn't actually pay him, but 90 seconds. And so he will be starting the announcement of our baseball video. We can't thank you enough because we really do appreciate you doing that. Even 90 seconds felt like too much to ask. So thank you for doing that.
It felt good to put the baseball stuff back in my head.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then my last question is, how many Emmys you got behind you there?
I don't know.
Because we know, I mean, you put it there for a reason.
Six Emmys. Are those actually yours?
Wait, hold on.
I'm actually starting to think that we have
no. There's a couple tucked away back there.
We have a case that we bought a bunch of fake Emmys.
You have your coffee back there.
Yeah, we bought some fake Emmys. I think we got to put it over here.
Yeah, we want people to see it.
We want people to see our fake Emmys and be like, damn, these guys are so accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, these are fake.
They don't give you the real trophy?
No, they do.
Yeah, those are real. You wanted people to bring it up, so we brought it up. You actually texted me before.
I appreciate that. I mean, yeah. You got to put them somewhere. I'm not not ashamed of them. So I'm happy that I won, and
You should be ashamed of them. We should try to figure out a way to make him ashamed.
What are they
Wait,
for?
I saw something. What are those?
Oh yeah, that's our trophy case. We just have the camera flip. See that? Look at all those Emmys and a Lombardi.
I can't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Really
It's not
make
really
out-
got a great.
I see a guitar,
Yeah.
and then
It wasn't great. We're gonna fix that up. We're gonna put it behind us.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Joe, I got one last thing. So I did read earlier that you have tried to reach out to Tom Brady through intermediaries to have him maybe
No,
do some
that's not
practice.
true.
Is
That's
that
not
not true? Is that fake? Did I get fake news?
No, we have a mutual friend who said that he had talked to Tom, and maybe Tom would be reaching out to me to. I would never impose my expertise or my faux expertise on somebody else. If he I would absolutely help anybody that asked me for help, but I would never presume that somebody like Tom or anybody would want it.
Well, he does listen to this program if Julian Edelman's driving him around. So if you have one piece of advice to give Tom Brady about how to get into the broadcasting gig, what would you tell him?
Are we being real right now?
Yeah, be real.
Be as real as you want to get.
Real as those Emmys.
I mean, I think. Thank you for that
I gotcha.
push. Yeah, I just think I think the best thing about Tony Romo when he started was he didn't come into this business trying to sound like anybody else. You can argue all the other subjective stuff you want, but he did it in a different way. And if I'm telling Tom Brady anything, which hopefully this gets picked up by awful announcing, so let's make a clean break here. If I'm telling Tom Brady, I would just say be yourself. I don't get into this trying to sound like what you've heard over the years. Don't get into this trying to sound like whoever's helping you. You are a 7-time Super Bowl winner and the greatest to ever do what you do. You know the game. Don't over prepare and see what you see and react with your gut on what you see. I think so many times people like that, they overdo it to the point where they're just paralyzed by so much information that kind of a nice, I don't want to say relaxed, but a wide open mind just to see something and react to it will be much more compelling than any bit of research that he could have done that he's trying to bring into the game.
So don't prepare.
Good advice. Yeah. Don't prepare at all. It's like us.
It's smart.
No.
It's smart.
Watch your film. Like what I loved about working with Smoltz was he prepared as if he was going to pitch against each lineup. And I appreciated that because I could talk to him about what certain hitters are looking for and how he thinks a pitcher should get that hitter out. And the same should be true for Tom. He should approach the game, in my opinion, like he's trying to play quarterback against each team and watch film like he did all those years. That's the preparation I think he should do more than, reading stats and stuff like that. I don't think that's interesting from him.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good advice. Yeah. Like if you're a quarterback, how would you attack this defense? And that's how he learns about the game of football.
Yeah.
That's how he sees it and absorbs it.
And when a defense is aligned in a certain way, if the linebacker comes down, the safety's down near the line of scrimmage, what do you as Tom Brady, where are you looking to throw the ball? Or, who do you like among the receivers? Or do you like the tight end better? Just by watching the film, which is what he's always done his entire life. I would say don't change much. Just fit what you see into between plays and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if somebody gives you a giant puffy jacket, just get one of your guys to deflate it real quick in the back room.
It was probably overpumped.
It was overpumped. All right. Well, Joe, thank you as always. Appreciate your help with the baseball video, and you are one of our very special guests. We can't thank you enough. That's true. That is a fact. We're not being sarcastic like we usually are. You do mean a lot to this show.
Well, back at you. You've made me come off younger than I typically would and get me in front of eyes and ears that have a preconceived notion, and they then realize that I'm not who they thought I was.
You're in your prime.
Yeah, you're in your prime.
I'm in my prime at 54.
Yes.
Tired every day that I wake up. I wake
Yes.
up tired every day.
Every day. Every day. Same with me. All right. Well, thank you, Joe.
Well, at least I didn't get caught kissing Vicky Butterman's big butt in the woods.
That's not true. Boys, did I interrupt?
Mom, you stupid bitch, get out of here.
Well, pardon me, and pardon my chicken tenders.
50, your mom is so cool. And she's hot. She's my stepmom. Oh, okay, well, your stepmom is really hot. Yeah, she is. Yeah! Oh, yeah. Touchdown!
My boys love their chicken tenders.
Pardon my cheesesteaks new menu is here. The Big Cat combo, chicken bacon ranch cheesesteaks, and chicken tenders.
Joe Buck was brought to you by Pardon My Cheesesteak. Big news. We've teamed up with Uber Eats to bring the flavor straight to your doorstep. Craving that Philly perfection? No problem. Just hit up the Uber Eats app, scroll through our cheesesteak lineup, let the flavor journey begin. Whether you're vibing with the classic Philly cheesesteak or if you're feeling adventurous with one of our signature creations, Pardon My Cheesesteak is just a few taps away. I like to secret shop at Pardon My Cheesesteak. Make sure that they're good sandwiches. I'm never disappointed. We're talking steak grilled to perfection, smothered in cheese that'll make you say, pardon me, this is heavenly. Is that what they'll make you say?
Yes.
I usually just say, this is a really fucking good cheesesteak. That works for me.
I would say I love the Big Cat combo so much.
What's in the Big Cat combo?
It is cheesesteak, fries, large drink.
That's amazing. Why wait? Open up the Uber Eats app, search for Pardon My Cheesesteaks, get ready for a flavor touchdown right at your doorstep. Pardon us, but we're about to make your taste buds do a victory dance. Order now on Uber Eats or at pardonmycheesesteak.com. And now, here's Mark Sanchez.
Okay, we now welcome on a very special guest. He is a 10-year NFL pro. You can hear him now on NFL coverage on Fox and Fox Sports 1. It is Mark Sanchez. We've been a long time coming. We've wanted you on for a long time, so thank you for joining us. We want to talk about everything.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about your career, but let's start with the Super Bowl because we know who's in it. You've obviously been covering the league this year, and you know these two teams. Your first knee-jerk reaction when you saw that it's going to be Chiefs versus 49ers, how you think this game's going to go?
Yeah, I immediately, one, thanks for having me. I'm fired up to be here, and respect what you guys do. So this is cool for me. But also, we got to get to Doug Marrone and the fried bologna sandwich at some point. So don't let me forget that. Let's see. Niners Chiefs rematch. That was the Miami Super Bowl of the 19 season, 20 Super Bowl, I think. So that was my son's first Super Bowl that he went to. And she wasn't my fiance at the time. She was my girlfriend. But the three of us went, and that was one of the first Super Bowls I went to and actually stayed for the game. Usually you just go and whatever, right? You just go do your marketing stuff, go to a party or two, and bounce out of there and watch it at home. So this rematch, when I told my son, who's now 7, his first memory of it was, oh, you let me eat that candy and my tongue was blue for 3 hours. So that's all he remembers, which is great.
Perfect.
But from that game, you just remember the 49ers handling business for 3.5 quarters. And then Patrick Mahomes starts to cement his legacy in that game with that comeback in the fourth quarter. And then the last few years have been incredible for him. But because of my career and playing the game, immediately when I see two teams, I go, okay, what's the strategy? What do you do? And dude, I'm telling you, if I'm San Francisco, I'm in big personnel, two backs. So Juszczyk, McCaffrey. Anytime McCaffrey needs a blow, get in any of the other backs that they have, and dude, just go 3 tight ends, big personnel, get in a phone booth and duke it out. Run it right at him.
Yeah.
I mean, like try and rush it 40 times. That's really what I think the strategy should be. I don't think KC matches up well with a downhill running attack. I think their strength is in the secondary. L'Jarius Sneed, this kid McDuffie.
Yep.
Dude, McDuffie does not get a lot of credit, and he's a second-year nickel and an all-pro at nickel. That's really hard to do. He's a baller, man.
Yeah.
But that's what they have. But I'm saying I'm running it downhill at Bolton, at Tranquil. They're 2 linebackers that are great players, ton of production, but they're undersized guys. They don't want to fit up on power and lead with use check every down. Come on, man.
It's basically what the Ravens didn't do. Like the Ravens just didn't run the ball.
And that's what I thought was going to be part of the deal. At least start there and then start to open things up with your play action, with your nakeds, everything that works off of the run game. I think the 49ers can exploit that. I think they have so much. Hand it to McCaffrey, hand it to Debo. I don't care who gets the ball. Hand it to Juszczyk. Just dial up runs right at them, dude.
Yeah.
And let your guys do what they do. The offensive line loves that too, by the way.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time they drop back to pass, it's like playing Red Rover. Remember playing Red Rover as a kid? Like you got to hold people's hands and people just kind of like run through. They don't want to do that every down. You don't want to throw it 40 times a game.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah.
Run the
Just
play.
pound it on him.
Run the play where you send Trent Williams in motion and give him like a 7-yard head start and just knock somebody's head off. That's what I want to see. I would like to see a big game from McCaffrey as well. On the quarterback side there, you have to have a spicy take about Brock Purdy. It's a rule. If you're in media, you have to have a spicy take. So do you think he is a top 5 quarterback or do you think he is the worst quarterback in the league? Those are the only 2 options.
Then I'm going top 5 because, I saw something the other day that said, he was leading the league in yards per attempt, passing efficiency, maybe not touchdowns, but there were like 6 categories. So it says this Super Bowl features a quarterback who leads all the league in boom, 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 and Patrick Mahomes. So don't forget about what Brock Purdy did all year. And I'm telling you, those 3 scrambles he made in the second half, either Brian Greasy, the quarterback coach, or Shanahan, somebody said something to him about, hey, don't be afraid to steal a couple first downs with your legs. Bro, that turned the tide of the game. That kept them afloat. And at minimum, when you steal a first down with your legs, you get your guys 3 more downs, maybe 4 if you go for it, right? So a minimum of 9 extra plays or 12 on the high end is what he got his team. And how many times do you hear coordinators, critics, people saying, man, if they only had the ball one more time, if we only had one more drive, if we only had one more shot. Dude, he got you 3 extra drives right there.
Yeah.
And that's not like a huge part of his game, but he's got a little juice to him, man. He's got a little quickness and like a little giddy up. That first 10-yard burst of his is legit, man. He was running away from DBs, from linebackers, and then, eventually they're going to catch him. He's not Lamar, but that was huge, man.
Yeah. So speaking about Brock Purdy, because I feel like maybe you can relate a little bit, where you were criticized a lot and, a lot of hot takes about your career when you were winning, like you were going to back-to-back AFC championship games. What does that do? Do you hear that, or are you just like, I don't care, we're winning? Like, people can say whatever they want, because it is crazy that a guy is winning like Brock Purdy's winning, yet there's still a debate every single day.
I think part of the issue there is the high expectations, the Mr. Irrelevant thing. Like, nobody wants to give him his flowers,
right,
for accomplishing anything. It's always, oh, thanks to Trent Williams, thanks to Debo Samuel, thanks to, well, what a great catch by Ayuk. Well, somebody's got to pull the trigger, man. Somebody's got to hike the ball. Somebody's got to handle all these checks. We've called a couple games for him, and so I'm trying to make this relatable to other people, but he goes to the line almost every snap with at least 2 different plays, sometimes 3, and is constantly playing these mental gymnastic games every down. good play, bad play, based on the pressure, based on the look, based on the front. Okay, who's here? Who's there? What's our best play? Let's get out of trouble. What's my, fallback plan? What's my contingency plan? It was funny because we have these production meetings when we call games for these teams, and you get to sit down with players and coaches and all that. And I said, so when you don't go to the line to the line of scrimmage with multiple plays, it's usually called like a call it and run it. Like, I don't care what the defense does, just go up to the ball, hike the ball, and let the play go. I said, when's the last time you went to the line of scrimmage with a call it, run it? And he just looked at me and laughed. He goes, God, I can't even remember. So I'm telling you, this guy's going through so much pre-snap and getting them in the right play, all the motions and shifts and everything that they do. Dude, that stuff for a quarterback, that's exhausting. Like, as a play caller, you have these wide receiver screens and call it, run it plays and, catch all type plays. And when you get those as a quarterback, for real, because after the game, you're spent, dude. Your brain's kind of melted and you just take a deep breath. But you need those breather plays.
Yeah.
Just the automatic handoffs, the quick little extended handoffs, extension of the run game to just dump the ball outside and let everybody else do the work and take a breath and then look to the sideline. Okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more impressed, man, with how he's handled it. And I mean, the guy's like, he goes home for bye week and, he's riding around on a tractor, like doing stuff on his farm. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
He seems like one of the coolest, normalest dudes in the world. And for some reason, he doesn't get enough love.
Yeah.
It's
a great point.
If there's one quarterback that I think could ignore social media and ignore what people are saying in the media, it's probably Brock Purdy. I imagine he might get a newspaper delivered to his apartment like once a week that he just doesn't pick up, and
it's like the local newspaper, like
he goes in there for the tractor classified ads. Maybe you can pick up like a new John Deere or something. But I think he is like pretty successful at tuning that out. When you were playing, it was probably impossible in New York, given the level of media scrutiny there. We used to have a guy on the show, Billy Football, and his theory was that the New York media is what absolutely dooms every New York Jets quarterback. Why is it different for the Jets? Why do they attack the Jets, not so much the Giants?
I think the Giants have they do a really good job at keeping things insulated. I think at times the Jets, like their success has been kind of up and down, and the Giants just seem to have been like a steady organization, a little less bravado, a little less loud. When it happens for the Jets, it is like the biggest thing in the world, almost like a firework, right? Like, it's big, it's bright, it's beautiful, and then it just kind of dies out on you. Where the Giants have seemed to be steady and they seem to be kind of above that whole media deal, and there's not as many the little gossipy stories and stuff like that. They seem to avoid those a little better. And I don't know what that is. There's different approaches to that, but I think for any organization, especially in a huge market like that, the most important thing is winning football games.
Yeah.
There's no need to try and win the popularity contest.
Yeah.
Just win football games and people will talk about your team. Like, if you can just do that, and it makes it much tougher. I mean, I've seen my favorite thing to look at times is like the blind quarterback stats. Like, you don't know who the quarterback is and they just give you the stats. And you're like, wow, that's not a bad year. And I saw something about it was Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones, like side to side. And their numbers were almost identical. But Trevor Lawrence is being celebrated as like, wow, what a player, incredible career so far. This is exactly the trajectory. He had a tough first year, but so did Peyton Manning. So did Andrew Luck. This guy's on the right trajectory. Dude, his numbers are almost identical to Daniel Jones. And that dude just gets hammered by the media.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are we doing here? You know, so it comes with the territory. It's just you know what it is? It's superlative and sensationalized.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like best, worst, that's it. There's no, hey, they had a pretty good year. It doesn't exist there. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
If you're 8-8, you're just terrible. You're garbage, you know, and you barely miss the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
So, and then when you do make the playoffs, it's Super Bowl or bust. And if you don't, it's, oh man, there they go. Same old Jets, you know? And so it's, dude, it's a heck of a thing to deal with, but it teaches you a lot. It teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you a lot about the people around you. I learned a lot about the business side of the NFL and how everything works media wise. And, you know, I'm probably better for it because now as I've transitioned into the TV stuff, I think it's really helped me. I can understand why the media is the way it is. The questions they used to ask me for the soundbite, for the, you know, the sexy, juicy clip of, you know, a silly question, you give the answer and boom, you cut that out. And now you sound like a jerk, or now you sound like you're arrogant, or now you sound like you're completely defeated and you have no confidence. You know, listen to the whole interview.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
No, it's
really too bad.
It's a good point. And off that point, we had this debate with your former teammate, Bart Scott. He doesn't understand why the butt fumble is funny. Do you think that the butt fumble gets as much play if it's not the Jets? Like, do you think that part of it
No way.
Yeah.
No
so
way.
Do you know why it's funny? Do you
it,
understand why it's funny? I should have started with that.
Well,
you
mean, it's
you ran into his butt. You ran into his butt. Yeah, and you fumbled.
You run into your own player. So,
no, but
like,
his
I've
butt.
Called games.
His butt. Yeah, you ran into his butt.
Bart struggled with this too. He said the same thing you did, which is like you ran into your own guy, but the key of the play is that it was an ass.
It was a butt.
That's what made it funny.
I'm starting to slide.
Right.
Okay? Because the play is doomed from the start. It's a bad play. It's a fake dive pitch. Basically like what people do with fly sweep now, where they fake the fly sweep motion right behind the quarterback, fake the handoff and toss. It's like a toss crack kind of play. Well, we're going the wrong way. So I turn around and nobody's there, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Okay, just get back to the line of scrimmage, like whatever. Well, I start to go back to the line of scrimmage and try to slide, and, you know, the rest is history. But Vince Wilfork and Brandon Moore are going up against each other, and I'm trying to get around him, and boom, I get hit, I run into him, whatever. Collinsworth on the call is like, Vince Wilfork just pushed an offensive lineman right back into the quarterback. And so I wasn't expecting to get hit. I was just trying to slide, get back to the line of scrimmage, next play, move on with your life. Well, I got hit. The ball goes flying. Next thing I know, they scored. And I was just like, what the hell happened? Well, okay, we move on to the next play. And they were beating us anyway, the Patriots. But the real issue, not issue, but I think the reason why it's gotten so much publicity or whatever is like Twitter and hashtags were like just starting to take off. It's Thanksgiving. Everybody's home watching TV. Jets, Patriots, the biggest thing on TV. Huge rivalry. And that happens. And then after that, it just exploded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
you ran into his butt. Yeah, you ran into his butt.
I've been on calls like talking about games, and I've seen like running backs and other players running the guy. If I don't fumble, nobody cares. I just didn't expect to get hit right there.
Yeah.
So I've seen guys run into their own players, and on broadcast, I've been like, oof, been there. Good thing he hung on to the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like
smart.
I just kind of, it's like a throwaway line and whatever. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
It was a big audience. I think it was the first Thanksgiving primetime game that was on a network, as opposed to like NFL network, as opposed to the the
dude,
league
it was huge. I mean, there were so many eyeballs on it that it took on a life of its own, and whatever. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
and it's funny because it was his butt.
It was his butt too. Yeah. That's the funny part. I just want you to know that, like, obviously it happens sometimes. You know, and it was a great play by Vince Wilfork. Like, the dude, your offensive lineman, he was like a Pro Bowler, and he's a big guy.
Dude, Brandon Moore's like the most underappreciated guy in the NFL. Like, he's an absolute stud, and I felt so bad that it was him. You know,
Yeah.
Like, if it was Mangold, him and I could have like joked about it, but like B Moore was just so upset. You know, I just. My heart breaks for him more than me. Whatever, dude. Water off the duck's back. Like, just move on. Next play. Like, go ball. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
But I just felt bad with him.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Next play. Going back to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. If you're the Chiefs, how do you attack the 49ers defense? Much like you were saying, okay, just run the ball at the Chiefs. If you're calling plays, if you're Andy Reid, what do you look to exploit?
Yeah, I think you're going to get a ton of 4-man rush, 7 guys in coverage. I think you find a way. The Chiefs are the Niners are, I think, in a way, are really missing Talanoa Hufanga, one of their safeties who went down with a knee injury. I think the Lions exploited it in the first half last week, but I mean, they run the same. You know, you watch the Chiefs offense; they run like almost 30 of the same plays every game. It is a West Coast offensive clinic. They'll run shallow cross. They'll run drive. They'll run double post. They'll run 4 verticals, all different ways. They have little wrinkles off it. They do it off of different personnel. They use motion. They try and hide guys in the backfield, release them out of the backfield. But it's a lot of the same core concept plays. And Mahomes has just become a master at those plays, understanding the spacing, the timing, where guys are at, how to beat these defenses in man or zone. And then the critical factor for him is the extension of these plays, man. When it turns into that street ball, like him running around, ball in one hand, feeling defenders, resetting the pocket, exiting the pocket, and then getting back in the pocket. Nobody's done that. Nobody used to do that. That's like what he's doing is just silly. He's making grown men who are incredible athletes look like clowns. And I don't know how he does it, man, because it's one thing to move around, but once you start moving, you got to realize you got to a lot of guys get disoriented with, okay, where is everybody? Where did everybody end up? This guy, like, he's got this photographic memory and understands the final destination of all these targets. And you could tell they work these scramble drills in practice ad nauseum, I'm sure, because the way he knows where Kelsey's going to be, the way he knows where these other players are going to be, and he just runs up to the line of scrimmage and then almost like a no-look flick, those kind of plays. I mean, if I'm the 49ers defense, you got to force him to do that down after down after down. Make him run around as much as you can.
Yeah.
And force those backyard type plays, those schoolyard type plays, because over a long period of time, it's not sustainable. You can't do it every down. 1, it's exhausting. 2, the coordinator, he's going to have a heart attack 5 times that game because he never knows where the ball is. The idea when you're calling offensive plays is you put together this plan, you go to the line of scrimmage, you see the defense, and you have a pretty good idea, okay, ball's going here or here. When the ball goes other places, the coordinator's a little like, whoa, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
You want to have an idea of what's going to happen. So as much as they can force them into those backyard plays and then just hope for a big one.
Yeah.
Hope for a big one. I mean, and for the Niners, man, like you got this ensemble cast, a star-studded cast of defensive linemen. Like, come on, man. Hargrave, Chase Young, Randy Gregory, Bosa balled out last week. But it can't just be him.
Right.
Those guys got to get theirs this week. Somebody's got to make the play. Somebody's got to get the sack fumble. Somebody's got to do something to pressure that pocket. Eric Armstead. I mean, those guys are Pro Bowlers, all pros. I mean, that's going to be the key to the game for me because they don't pressure a lot of guys from the secondary. They don't fire the nickel. They don't bring the corners. They don't bring the safeties. That's just not who they are. That's not Steve Wilkes. That's not the way this defense is built. So you got to generate pressure with the front 4. And those guys are going to have they're going to have their hands full because Mahomes is all over the place.
Yeah. All right. Dumb question time.
Oh dear.
How awesome was it to be a star quarterback at USC?
Oh man.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
That was it was a heck of a run, man. I just felt like I fit in at the right time. You know, Carson Palmer was my childhood idol, and he had gone to school there. They used to do training camp at UCI in Irvine, University of California, Irvine. So I'd go up to the practices here. It's only like 20 minutes from my house. I was his ball boy when he was in high school. So he was like this god to me, you know, this football god and an idol of mine. And then Matt Leinert's coming up. And then, you know, Norm Chow and Pete Carroll and Ed Ogeron are in my living room telling me I'm going to be that. You know, that same guy I'm looking up to, and this other guy, Matt Leinart, that came right out of Orange County, right up the street. Like, this is the trajectory you're on. And it was just surreal. But it's everything I had worked for. It's everything I've ever wanted. And, you know, we wear these gold jerseys at practice, and Coach Sarkisian used to remind us, you know, like there's a gold jersey standard at school. And that's with everything, your schoolwork, the way you work out in the gym, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's like, it's all right to have a little bit of a good time with a gold jersey too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people who appreciate that you're wearing that gold jersey. You worked really hard for it. So enjoy it too.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I could say that I did.
Yeah.
Is she a gold jersey? Yeah, she's a gold jersey. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like when you think about it.
The gold jersey standard.
Yeah, I like it.
In college football, like being the quarterback of USC, that is like if you ask a million, you know, sports fans, what would you, if you could dream of being one thing, it'd be that. Like there's something about it.
I mean, yeah, the starting quarterback in college, it's everything you think. There's, you know, you just get love from people all around. Hey man, great game. You know, like they just want to be a part of something and to appreciate what you're doing. And, you know, you just got to do your best not to get too, you know, you can't drink the Kool-Aid as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
And it's, you know, it's a great place to go to school.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
I love we've had Carson on, we've had Matt on. I love it because we ask that question every time, and all three of you guys do the thing where you like kind of look off and you're like, yeah, it was awesome. Like you like go in the memory bank for a second and you're like, yeah, it was pretty fucking sweet. So I'm happy you answered it the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at USC, you mentioned Coach O. We love Coach O. He's the best. I still can't believe he was working at USC for a while. Like, he doesn't scream Hollywood, but when he was recruiting you, what was he like? What was his sales pitch like?
Let me tell you. You're going to come to SC. You're going to be the quarterback. Now, we're going to win the Rose Bowl. You're going to stand up on the ladder, hold the sword, and after the game, I'm going to make you some gumbo. And I was like, okay, sounds good. I'm in.
That's a pretty good Coach O
impression. My dad, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is gumbo? And he's like, oh God. You know, like, he was such an intense coach, man. He didn't mess around. I mean, he would start every year with just like, hey, like, I'm going to coach you guys hard. If anybody's got a problem with it, he would just rip off his shirt. We can fight right now. Like, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
And you're just, whoa, I'm not fighting him.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
He's
perfect.
a monster, man. He was exactly what we needed. Energy, juice. He'd come in with the big drum in meetings. They got a drum somehow from the band, like the big bass drum that you wear in front of you, you know? And he'd just come in there and start banging on this thing. He'd start banging on the wall as we're coming out of the tunnel. And, you know, somebody would hit the beat, the dun, 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 and he'd go, the champ is here. The champ is here, you know? And everybody was just juiced, man. You were like jumping out of your skin, and guys are just headbutting each other. And it was a hell of a time, man. Those are some of my favorite memories.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So another thing about your career, you were I think you hold some records for playoff wins. I know that you and Ben are the only two guys who went to 2 AFC championships to start your career. What was it about you on the road? Like, it was incredible. I mean, it's hard to win playoff road games. Like, the only ones that we saw this year was Jordan Love won in Dallas, and then Mahomes has won 2, but no one else won any. So what was it about you and, like, going on the road, like, that you were able to accomplish that?
I think that kind of matched the identity and personality of our team. We just seemed to, when everything was kind of stacked against us, there was this unification of everybody. Like, we just kind of gelled together, and we had this road dog mentality, us against the world. You know, that kind of like the Lions this year, just like Detroit against everybody, you know? And Rex really instilled that in us. I felt like, you know, when we were in a home game with the Jets, if you're not winning constantly, like, you know, people are leaving in the fourth quarter. Like, it's not like this crazy home field advantage. You know, we're not the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're not the Seattle Seahawks. Like, it's not, you know, the 12s are just going nuts for us. It didn't really feel like that at home. And on the road, because of Rex's personality, because he wasn't afraid to talk to anybody and tell anybody anything, you just kind of had this chip on your shoulder, and we became a nasty group on the road. And those nights before the game in the hotel, it was just kind of like understood, almost as if everybody kind of made eye contact, nodded to each other like, yeah, we know what we're going to do. We're going to go ruin this team Sunday. We get to go in this stadium. They think they're going to lock us in the stadium for a couple hours and whoop our ass for a little bit. No. We got another thing coming, and they got another thing coming.
Yeah.
We're going to go ruin their whole week. Everything they worked for 6 days is worthless. Watch this. You know, we just kind of had that juice, man, that mentality. And it blows my mind that Mahomes' first couple road games came in his 6th year.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I was like, damn, dude. And, you know, it's in some ways a few years ago when Brady was going on the road to win one of his first playoff games or tie. It was like, with the win this weekend, Tom Brady ties Mark Sanchez for most road playoff wins, which was 4 at the time. And that was, you know, 6 years ago, whatever it was. But it was almost like a backhanded compliment. Like, yeah, thanks. We didn't win our division, you know?
Right.
My bad.
Right.
But it was, I don't know. You gotta lock into a certain type of mentality and own it. And, you know, those 53 guys and all the coaches with you, like, that's all you got. We're all we got, and we're all we need. That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I think it was you guys had the ultimate fuck you mentality. You can distill it down to like those 2 words, right? It was like, fuck you. We're the Jets. And it all came from your coach, from Rex Ryan. He seemed to be like the perfect guy to lead the fuck you mentality because he was, you know, he had been passed up for jobs before. He was loud. He was abrasive. And he would just, you know, give the finger to everybody. He was, you know, that kind of guy. So he and you have a very close bond. When you got drafted, he got a tattoo of his wife on his arm wearing your jersey. When that happened, were you like, that's I guess cool because he's probably not going to bench me if I'm on his wife's right?
Yeah.
No, I actually did get benched one time, but I didn't hear about it until off season when he was on vacation. So he had, you know, had no shirt on and was hanging out by the pool, and somebody snapped a photo of it, and then it showed up in the New York Post or whatever. But so I had no idea that was the thing, like that was a thing. And so when I read about it, I was like, huh? Mickey's got a tattoo of me? So I didn't know exactly what it was until I really saw it. And so I was like, oh, okay. I mean, whatever. She got a Jets jersey. What other number is she going to put on it? Number 1? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's true.
She threw a 6 on there, and I felt good about it until he went to Buffalo, and then he had it colored in blue.
Oh, I forgot about
he
that.
got it redone.
Yeah.
Who's number 6 on Buffalo?
Oh,
is that like
man.
I don't know, but he needs to change that back.
EJ Mann.
Yeah, he needs to change that back. What the hell? It's It's quite a story. I mean, you've been coached by some of the greats, you know, Pete Carroll and like all-time character Ed O and Rex Ryan. Another iconic Mark Sanchez moment that we have to discuss is obviously eating the hot dog on the sideline. I love that move so much. I love hot dogs, and the fact that it was in a blowout. Like you had to when that happened, you had to have thought like, there's no way this is going to be a story, and then all of a sudden they had nothing to talk about. It's 38-0.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, I guess we're just going to show shots of Mark Sanchez eating a hot dog on the sideline.
You know, and I was so upset that they did that at the time. But now calling games, like I've called a game that was 3-0 with the Vikings and the Raiders. So by the fourth quarter, it's 3-0, dude. There's like, I'm basically taking out my driver's license and like reading it off into the microphone. Like I got nothing left, right? You're like, you've wasted all your stories. You know, a guy makes a 2-yard run and you're like, did you know he was a junior high triple jump champion in Arizona? And you're like, oh my God, it turns into a friends and family affair. Like there's nobody there. So I understand why now that I'm doing media. But at the time, I was a little upset. But the backstory going into that moment, we started off 3-0. Then we went on a 3-game skid, I'm pretty sure. And then we're going back to California. We're playing the Oakland Raiders. I got a huge section of people supporting me that came up from Southern California. And it was a big deal to play in front of my family and everything. And so I thought I understood the NFL at 3-0. And then we go 0-3, and I'm really second-guessing a lot. And fast forward to that game, dude, I could not eat before the game. And I would never get, like, pregame sick. Like, I know guys who would intentionally, like, go to the bathroom and, like, throw up on purpose, right, just to get it out of the way. I just couldn't eat, and I felt horrible. And I wasn't sick, but I was just – I'd never been paralyzed by my nerves before.
Right.
So I didn't eat. And I felt like I had like nothing out there, and we're still winning the game. I mean, we're up 38-0. We're waxing them. Oakland was terrible. And I remember in the third or fourth quarter, whenever it was, there's those guys in the white shirts and blue shorts. And I just said, yo, do you guys have any food? You got anything like a bar or whatever? He goes, I can run up to concessions for you. I said, are you serious? I was like, what do they got? He's like, burgers, dogs, whatever you want, like nachos. I'm like, I'm not going to eat nachos on the sideline. Shoot, grab me a dog, man. Grab me some mustard. Like, thank you. So he runs up to the deal, comes back down, and I waited for a timeout. So, like, I'm not, you know, I don't want to upstage anybody. Kellen Clemens, I think, had gone in the game at the time. So I'm, like, paying attention to the game. But as soon as we had a timeout and we were on defense, I'm like, okay, this is probably a safe spot. And so I kind of hunched down, you know, hit the mustard deal, and I'm like trying to do it all incognito. I'm just right there on the broadcast. I'm like, what the hell, dude?
It was great.
I needed something, and Rex, you know, Rex wasn't mad. He was like, you know, we can't, you know, it looks like you're, you know, big time in the other team. Like, you don't want that to be your persona. And so he gave me a hard time in the press conference, but he wasn't really mad.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. You know, I think after that, we donated like 1,000 hot dogs to a local like charity or food bank or something like that, just to try and like smooth it over, because I felt bad about it at the time. And now looking back, I'm like, that was such a normal thing. So many guys eat. Like I've eaten pizzas in college on the sidelines. Like I've eaten during games. Sometimes I just get hungry, and like, especially when you're not the starter, there's food in the equipment room at halftime. So the coaches do their deal, the coordinators do their deal. Hey, here's the plan for the second half, blah, blah, blah. Right before you run back out, the guys who aren't playing, dude, I would run in there and grab like 5 chicken fingers all the time. Just maul them. And then run back out on the field. Like, I just need a little something. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of that story was when you apologized for eating a hot dog. To me, that was the funniest part.
Yeah.
Sorry for eating the hot dog. It won't happen again.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I mean, I'm so mad that I did. I wish I could go back and take it back and start the whole glizzy thing and just be like, sometimes you got to down a dog, dude. Like, no glizzy is safe around me. I'm a big glizzy guy.
Oh, that would have been great.
Speaking of processed meats, you mentioned Doug Marrone, our good friend Doug.
Oh, yeah.
Love Doug, big bologna guy. He brought in bologna sandwiches when he came into the studio. He just loves bologna.
Yeah,
He
and his
just,
boy Stephen Brown. So his boy Stephen Brown is now my very good friend. Helps me out in the booth, and Stevie showed me. I told him I was coming on the show, and he goes, "Bro, you got to see this clip." And apparently, he brought you guys fried bologna sandwiches.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that's
That
all he
sounds
eats.
so gross.
It was good.
It was
I don't
good.
know. I think he kind of like incepted us because he's like, "This is the best fried bologna you'll ever have," and I'm like, "Okay." and then I ate it. I was like, "Yeah, you're right. This is the best fried." I'd never had fried bologna, but it was the best fried
Neither
bologna
have
I'd
I.
had.
He overwhelmed us
Yeah,
with
Doug's the man.
sandwiches. He
Yeah.
came in. I think there were
Doug's
like
the
20 sandwiches, and they were all bologna. He's like, "You guys are
And
gonna love
He
these."
brought
And
in a couple beers.
Yeah. He did.
he's the man.
He's the best. He's a football guy through and through. Yeah.
Mark,
I love him.
you're a member of a very elite fraternity. Maybe you can tell me what all these quarterbacks have in common. Rex
dear.
Grossman, Jason Campbell, Todd Collins, you. I think that might be it.
I know.
Rex went to the Super Bowl.
You all played for these two teams.
Washington and Chicago.
Yes.
You actually are like the
Let's
part of my
go.
take quarterback because we have a Jets fan in the booth. I'm Bears, PFT's Washington, and he also played for the Eagles. So we have you kind of get all of our fan bases.
And you
Dude, I
beat
bounced
Hank.
around a little bit towards the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So about that, like it felt like towards the end of your career, everything I read was like Mark Sanchez is a great guy to have in the locker room, and he's great at like, I know that it sucks to be the backup quarterback, but there is a skill set to it. What is that? Because I think a lot of people misunderstand it, where they're like, if you're a really good starter, you'll automatically be a really good backup, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And certain guys come in with, you got to have the right mentality. There's a competitive side to it, but there's also a respect side to it and a professionalism, I think. And not everybody's personality is suited to be the backup. I didn't think mine was going to be, but as soon as you walk in the building, like you enter your little code to get in the building, and it's like I would remind myself by taking a breath and understanding it's not about me. It's about the starter. How can I help him? I got to break down clips, whether it's for Trubisky or Dak Prescott or whoever. I just felt like that was the right thing to do because that happened for me. So Kevin O'Connell, Mark Brunell, and Kellen Clemens were all in our quarterback room with the Jets my first couple of years. And they basically demonstrated what the proper quarterback room etiquette is. And you want to play, man. You study every week. You watch all the same clips. You just don't get the reps in practice. And you work scout team. So your job is servicing the defense, helping the defensive coordinator. I've gotten closer to more defensive coaches over my last 4 years because I would, they show you these cards and they say, hey, throw it to this guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how that play works. Can I explain something? Let me show you how this works. We run this play, or I know this concept. This is kind of how they do it. The yardage is off or whatever. So when it becomes like a collaborative effort, I'm trying to help everybody. And then most importantly, like you're the pillow that the starting quarterback should be able to scream at or in.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you just, everything's going wrong, that's you. That's your job. And I just felt like you have to accept that role and do everything you possibly can to help that guy, whether it's create new cut-ups, come up with a one-page sheet of notes. That always helped me. The night before the game, the one page of notes of the entire game plan, just quick little things. Making an empty clip and reminding Mitch Trubisky, hey, you're going to get one of two things when we get to empty. Don't forget that. You have your checks ready. You got your tool belt ready. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just felt like that was it was a different role. I didn't love the role, but you got to respect the game. You got to respect the guys ahead of you, and you got to do everything you can to win and help everybody else. So it's almost like coaching in cleats in a sense.
Yeah.
But you get to run around a little bit in practice and stay in good shape, and you hope the guy plays well, if something crazy goes down, then you got to be ready to go. So it was definitely a transition. Not my favorite time, but I learned to love it.
Yeah.
You're also part of a pretty weird quarterback room on the Jets when they signed Tebow and they bring Tebow in. I can't imagine that was a productive work environment given the entire, like the whole focus on Tebow joining training camp. He's running shirtless in the rain. He looked good shirtless, by the way. When you saw him run, you were damn.
It was, stuff like that was just, it comes with everything that Tim is. Like he's a mega superstar and he has this huge following. So you knew there was going to be some of that in the building, and you kind of sign up for that if you sign a player like that. I think under any other circumstances, Tim and I would have been much closer because we do align on a lot of things. Like he works really hard in the weight room. He works really hard at practice. He is a really good teammate. But when it's difficult in the quarterback room because there can only be one. You have two, you have none.
Yeah.
So it also sends messages to the team like, okay, we're signing this other really good player. What's the role? How do we define these roles for these two players? Who's our guy? Who are we following? And so it was, it made life difficult, but I genuinely think under any other circumstances, I mean, he's a hell of a dude. He works his butt off, man. I've never seen anybody, go at it that hard. He loved playing ball, man. That's all he wanted to do. But he was productive at other positions. He played special teams. He played tight end. I could never do that. Yeah. So it was, you do your best with stuff like that, and you hope it works out. Him being on the team didn't lead to our success or failure. That wasn't like the one piece that decided the season. We weren't a good team when he showed up. I don't care who was playing quarterback. We just weren't a good team.
Yeah.
We weren't nearly the team we had in my first 2 years, so that's, it's not like he showed up and the team sucks now. Not at all. So, that quarterback room is tricky. You got to find the right mix of players. And if it is somebody who has been a starter, it's got to be somebody who can kind of take a step back, check their ego, check everything at the door, and service the main starter. Yeah. Because the whole thing has to go through the eyes of the quarterback. Everything has to be seen through the eyes of the quarterback, in my opinion, if you want to have success.
Yeah. So, Mark, this has been awesome. We appreciate you so much. Last question, rowback question, rhoback.com, promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase, Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts. Go to rowback.com right now, promo code TAKE. Last question, just give us the winner. Give us the winner.
Super Bowl winner?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
No, Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl. Much higher stakes at the Pro Bowl. Geez. See, we're too early.
Okay.
We're too early.
All right. What are you leaning right now? First inclination, knee-jerk reaction.
I can't bet against Mahomes anymore, man. And I thought Baltimore would handle him. I thought the Bills had him. They had him on the ropes, man. And this dude just finds a way to win. So if I bet against the guy, I'm like, that's crazy. I'm doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, and that is insane.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
I don't know if I can bet against the guy.
That's fair analysis. Yeah,
I'm insane.
Yeah.
I am insane. I'm going to stop Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it is fair analysis.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Everyone else has failed.
You got it, dude.
I got it. I got the
skill
formula.
set.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. We really appreciate it. This was great, and we'll definitely have you back on next football season for sure.
I appreciate it. Let me know. Happy to come back.
Yep. Thanks, Mark. Mark Sanchez is brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar that you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar that you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, there's no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer.
Okay, let's wrap up. We got a new segment.
New segment alert.
Great idea, PFT. Pardon your take, where we have listeners send in their weird theories. We'll give you sports theories, anything. Just get the discussion going.
Yeah,
Debates.
I truly think that we have some of the funniest and most creative listeners out
Facts.
there. And so they should have a platform.
Yeah. So here it is.
There were so many sent in.
All right, great. Well, we'll do it again.
Hey, PMT. One of my NFL takes that I stand by is that you should get a point for kicking it through the upright on a kickoff. The accuracy from that distance is remarkable.
Agreed.
Imagine being down 9 and being able to tie the game with a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a kickoff point.
Ooh. I love that.
Would be electric and bring more value to the kickoff instead of all these boring fair catches and bounces out of the end zone nowadays. Frat Stafford.
I like that a lot. Thank you, Frat. It's what would that distance be on that kick? It's from the 35, right?
I believe
So it'd be a
75.
75-yard kick off a tee. I feel like most kickoff, not necessarily kickers, because sometimes punters do it. Most people that do kickoffs can at least get it out of the back of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board with this.
I like it. I think we should add something to it, though, because you're basically letting them like get a free shot at a field goal. I think you should have to declare, or an extra point, you should have to declare that this is your intention, and the entire kicking team can't move off the line, and then if you can catch it in bounds, you can return it. So they can't start tackling till they hit the line.
Yeah, I like that. So you have the opportunity, if you can't start your pursuit until after it's caught, then they'll probably get it back up to like the 40.
Well, maybe even better. It kind of be like Roman gladiators, where it's like the entire receiving team will then just run full speed at a stationary blockers.
The giant wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Because it also, I would imagine, if you're trying to kick it out of the end or kick it through the uprights, 90% of them will be out of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't happen very often, but I think you should at least give that chance for the return team.
Or make it a doink.
If you have to doink it.
Doink it. I like that.
Or
Doink
maybe
should be worth
if
more
it goes out of the back of the end zone, then it's the illegal procedure penalty.
Yeah.
And you get the ball way up.
That might make more sense strategically wise than my idea, but I do just like the idea of like catching a ball and having the entire receiving team just stand there at the 35?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about this? What if you try to kick, if you declare, okay, I'm trying to make the field goal on this kickoff. If you miss it, then it's -1 point.
I like that too. Okay. Good thought starter.
My take. Teams need to seriously consider firing their head coach after a successful season to retain their OC play caller. For example, in 3 years, I think we will look back at Ben Johnson and say he was the catalyst for that team's success over Dan Campbell. And you'll be crazy to say Dan Campbell is a better coach than Ben Johnson, even though it sounds crazy to say today. Other examples, McVay under Jake Gruden in 2016, Shanahan under Dan Quinn, Steichen under Sirianni. Ask Max, who'd rather just have a year removed.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't go all the way back there.
There were a lot of people that you could have brought up.
You do Bobby Slowick,
Kyle
Shanahan, Sean McVay,
Mike
McDaniel,
Raheem
Morris, all under Mike Shanahan.
Chris Forrester.
Yeah. Coke guy.
Big Coke guy. But also stripper guy.
Yeah. Well, those kind of go hand in
hand.
Wait,
this is a storyline that we missed.
Yeah.
Chris Forrester, offensive line coach on the 49ers, big Coke guy, big stripper guy. What do you think he's going to be doing in Vegas?
Yeah. Not going into a sports book.
Nope. Keep him clean.
You told me specifically don't do coke and strippers in a sports book.
Yeah.
I followed those rules. Okay.
My take. Taylor Swift makes an appearance at the Super Bowl. She's there to support Travis. However, she's also doing recon on the halftime show. After seeing Usher, 10 years past his prime, perform his show, Taylor thinks to herself, I can do that better. Taylor Swift 2025 halftime show plus 165.
Oh.
I don't hate that. She's been scared to do it in the past.
I don't think so. I mean, she's getting all of the marketing and appeals of being involved with the NFL already.
True.
Yeah. Do they pay now? Because I know for a while the NFL did not pay the halftime.
They do
performers.
not.
They do
Yeah.
it for the exposure.
I
right?
saw
I would love
fact.
to see Taylor more exposed.
I think it was 93. The broadcast was on CBS or NBC. And In Living Color, the sketch show, did a live Super Bowl show during halftime. And that got a bunch of viewers. That woke the NFL up. And then the next year, Michael Jackson was the halftime performance.
So actually, the real theory here is Usher does his halftime show. Mincy does his halftime show. The NFL realizes they can't compete. Mincy plus Infinity to do the halftime show next year.
With Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Gonna be wild.
I asked Mincy to do 3 songs. He said, nope, 2.
Oh, he's had this planned out.
His halftime show is over before the halftime show starts.
The thing you have to understand about Mincy, he gets a vision, and then he is locked onto that like a dog with a bone.
Right.
He's just like, no, this is what's happening.
Right. Like Wake Up Mincy every 3 weeks.
But every day for that week, right?
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
He's an oil rigger.
But when he does 2 weeks,
He
like
just goes and
Wildcat.
he's working on the oil rig, and then he comes home to his family.
But when he does a week, he does the full week, right?
Nope. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
You'd think that the support we've had for one Benjamin Mintz, he would maybe do Wake Up Mincy during birthday week.
That would have been nice.
Damn.
I would have loved if he had asked me to come in on my birthday for that. I would have dropped everything.
I wouldn't even want to come in on my birthday for it. I would have just wanted to watch it on my birthday.
Yeah.
To make me feel happy.
Is it even a birthday
Nope.
without Wake Up Mincy?
Nope.
You never
I'm
woke
0
up.
years old. Yeah. Okay.
Take. Eliminate the draft from pro sports to eliminate tanking. All rookies enter free agent pool.
Mike Florio wrote this.
And teams have a specific percentage of their
Yep,
cap
Mike
that
Florio
they can
wrote
allocate to rookies based on record.
Mike Florio wrote this.
This still provides advantages for worse teams to offer bigger contracts while forcing teams to field attractive situations for free agent rookies.
He did.
It is weird. It is.
I mean, I think it's a stupid idea.
Well, because Mike Florio wrote it. Mike Florio has been very
didn't.
big on this. Well, he didn't actually write it, but this has been his big idea. I don't hate the idea. To have instead of a draft, you can just basically sign everyone who's eligible.
Yeah, but then you'd get questioned. Like players that took more money would get chirped unfairly.
Well, also
for
you'd have the
trying to
problem of
support their family versus a Patriots or Chiefs being like, you don't want to come to the best team.
Well, in a small market situation, in other sports, maybe the NFL doesn't really matter, but would guys be like, oh yeah, I want to go to the Jazz?
Yeah. I think that.
But they could spend the most money too.
So in theory, athletics is the only thing where you graduate from college, you specialize in something in college, or you're 18, 19 years old if you're going to the NBA, you've been working overseas at your craft, and then you have to be told where to go live and what team to be on. And if you're a big NFL is rigged thing, yeah, this is another example of the NFL being rigged. It's rigged in this case for parity so that more teams can be more exciting, sell more tickets, and then all that money goes into a big pool. Everything gets spread out. It's good for the league if you're playing against other good competition.
Yeah.
More people will watch. So, yes, the NFL via the draft is rigged for money.
Yeah. Okay, last one.
It actually, you could make the argument that professional sports are communist.
Yeah.
They are. It
make
is,
you go somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is communist.
All right, last one. Or was that the last one?
No, I got one more. I know this would never happen, but hear me out.
Okay.
That's how all great sentences start.
Mm-hmm.
What if after each round of the playoffs, pick any sport, the winning team gets to steal any player from the losing team to join them for the rest of their championship run? By the Super Bowl, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, you have two mega teams competing against each other for glory. Further, which two players would you pick for Kansas City, and which player would you pick for the Lions?
So I don't want to Chris Broussard this.
Well, it'd be the Ravens and the Lions.
Yeah, the Ravens and the Lions. I don't want to Chris Broussard this, but the first I ever heard of this idea, my dad told me this idea when I was maybe 10. He was like, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Especially baseball, you can pick up a pitcher. But yeah, if the Chiefs would get a Ravens player, ooh, probably Kyle Hamilton, although they have a really good secondary. Maybe
Lamar, spread him out wide.
Yeah, maybe Lamar.
Yeah.
Spread him out wide.
Justin Tucker.
They
have a good kicker.
Mark Andrews would be pretty sick. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews would be pretty tough to defend.
I would take Patrick Ricard.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ravens' offense fell apart after Andrews came back.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I would take Ricard. If you can get 2, I'd take Ricard and then either Queen or Roshan.
Yeah, and then for the Niners,
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Yeah, easy.
Easy. And if you can't take Jared Goff, Dan
Campbell.
Dan Campbell would be good.
Just to gas you up.
Could you imagine Gibbs?
Yeah.
They would just be like, "Well, you can't stop anything."
Mm-hmm.
Or even Laporta, like Kittle and Laporta,
probably
2 Iowa guys.
You probably take Penei Sewell, and then
you
and then
definitely
your
take
anchors
Penei
are Trent Williams and Penei Sewell, and then good luck because you also have Jahmyr Gibbs back there with Christian McCaffrey.
It's a little harder in football because obviously you'd have to learn a whole playbook, but baseball is what it would really be sick in. Because you could just be like, we'll just grab a pinch hitter or a starting pitcher or a closer. Yeah, like that would rock. And you just get stronger and stronger as you go along.
Which players – so if you accumulate players this entire time, is there anybody from the Eagles who they lost in their first playoff game? Is there anybody that you would want
still be
on the Niners? Yeah. Who would stick around? Probably
Big Dom.
Travis Kelce. Big Dom.
Big Dom.
Yeah.
Big Dom. For sure, Big Dom.
Travis Kelce does not play on the
Sorry,
Eagles.
Jason Kelce. My mistake.
I was so happy you messed that up.
Yeah, he was.
Jordan Davis.
Jalen Carter. Yeah. Okay. Good show, boys. This is a great show.
A.J. Brown. He wants to be
Brown.
on a different team anyways.
Yeah, it's true. Let's do numbers. What just happened? Pug and Jake just left. Oh, we got a birthday cake.
Thank you.
Look at this. Happy birthday, Big Cat and PFT. Love it.
Happy birthday, dear Big Cat and PFT.
All right, yeah.
Thank you,
Jake. What kind of cake is this?
It's a birthday cake.
Can you tell me what? Tell me what.
It's a birthday cake, and I lit the candles at the beginning of the segment, and they went too quickly.
What is the taste, though? Can you at least
I
taste
think
it or smell it and tell me?
I think it's butter cake.
Give it a smell.
Smell it.
Oh, come on. I would have done it, PFT.
No, I couldn't do it.
I would have done it.
I couldn't do it.
I should have done it.
I couldn't do it to our
I would
darling
have pied
Jake.
him.
You want to have some?
No, don't mess up the whole office. I don't want any. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna diet. I did the. Oh, I just spilled on my computer. I did the rundown yesterday, and people were saying I look like Andy Reid.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, why did you say that? It's my birthday.
It was your mustache.
That was what it was. Not my red rosy cheeks and
Like the
fat
walrus
face.
mustache.
You have anything you're going to change in your 39th year?
No. Yeah, Jake did not know that I was trying to pie him.
No, he didn't.
It would have been great. Yeah, we can hear you right now. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Appreciate all
one
you
more
do for
year in our
us.
30s. Next year we got to do something big. We're
I
gonna
got you a
plan
nice
something
gift. I got to
big.
figure out what to get PFT. But
You got me a nice gift?
I gave it to you earlier.
Oh, I got PFT. I got you something. This hat.
Oh,
Because it's the Super Bowl that happened on your birthday.
thank you, Big
That's
Cat.
pretty cool, right?
That's a great hat. Yeah.
What'd you get me?
I also got you this hat
Oh, nice.
that I'm wearing right now.
I already got
Cool.
him. I already got him a hat.
I'm excited to root
Yeah.
for Ben Johnson on the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do numbers.
23.
18.
I'll do 39.
40.
21.
8.
Oh, you
99
motherfucker.
pug.
I always pick 40.
Right.
I hope one of you guys win today.
Oh, thank
Thanks,
you.
Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
I don't.
Well, Big Cat or PFT.
Oh, fuck you.
Max, why don't you?
Well, I mean, I need to get it before Big Cat.
64. 64. 64.
Love you guys.
Thank you, boys. Great show.
It's good cake.